Yeah, this is case number 459 on the calendar in the matter of McLeod Tenori versus Webb. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
All right. Planning a wedding, first wedding for both of you?
Yes.
Yes.
You hired the defendant to do the catering. You were expecting about 150 people. She gave you a price of a little over $500 to do all the catering for 150 people. So far, is that right?
Correct.
That's correct. That's some bargain. Night before the wedding, you were arrested, had some outstanding matter with the police. You were pulled over for a traffic violation, held overnight. You called them from jail?
Actually, Your Honor, I had to call my mother at 6 o'clock that morning and ask her to get in touch with a partner of mine that was supposed to help me prepare for the wedding. And she got in touch with my partner at 9 o'clock that morning.
Okay. In any event, you were ultimately contacted, told you wasn't coming. You had to hustle and scramble and find a deli and get sandwiches and whatever to feed these 150 people. You not only want your deposit back, you want $5,000 from her because you say she spoiled your whole day. Right?
That's accurate.
It's never going to happen. Understand that it's never going to happen. The defendant did, in fact, volunteer to give you $1,000, right?
That's correct.
You said, I'm prepared to give you $1,000 for your aggravation and everything else. I feel terrible. What happened? And you said no. Why did you say no?
First of all, Your Honor, she didn't contact us until December 18th, 2 months and 4 days after the wedding, after she'd been served with the court case.
You mean she didn't send you back your deposit either?
No, wouldn't even return my phone calls. And we didn't find out.
Then you got angry.
Well, partially. I also spoke to a lot of lawyers and people, and they said when you sue for the maximum, and then you see what you can get, you barter or whatever, so.
Your
But,
Honor, Your Honor,
That's why lawyers have such a bad reputation.
Your Honor, the reason why I didn't contact her as soon as I got released, which is after 11 days, I missed 3 weeks of work. I got out to almost being evicted, and I had a tragedy in my family. There was a lot of things going on when I got out. And I also tried to contact her before I was served, and when I spoke with her, she told me that she was on her honeymoon and that she did not receive any of my messages.
What were you incarcerated for the 11 days?
For not showing up, for being a material witness in an assault case, which was my past landlord. And at that time, my landlord had been threatening me, so I moved.
Whatever. So you were served to appear as a witness in a criminal case. You didn't appear.
Right.
What do you expect to get from her?
Well, I think mostly it was the cost we incurred. Our wedding, we served hot dogs instead of the elegant meal we had planned.
You weren't going to get an elegant meal for $500 for 150 people.
Well, actually, when we interviewed with her, I asked those questions because we were inviting people from all over the country, and no one traveled less than an hour because we were in the mountains where we got married.
For $500, you don't get a big spread.
I know, and
Okay.
I even have the stuff she faxed me, and I questioned it. She showed us books to say, you know, people cooked the food for her. That's how she was able to do
If
it.
it looks too good to be true, it's usually not true. You look like an intelligent lady. Did you ultimately have a good time at your wedding?
I think the only time I really remember was the actual ceremony.
That's great.
We never went over to the tables. We never even ate the food. It was taboo, and
Perfect.
I was so humiliated and embarrassed. I didn't, want to even start crying in front of my guests. So
Okay. It will be a day you will remember.
we've got stories, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
But
Miss
for-
Webb, did you make an offer to them to compensate them in the amount of $1,000?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
Because, Your Honor, I felt very terrible that I could not be there to cater her wedding. That's what I love to do.
Why didn't your partner get over there with some of the food?
Evidently, she wasn't true. She wasn't a real friend.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
What?
Can I say one more thing? We actually didn't find out that Alicia wasn't coming until 3 o'clock, and the wedding was due at 4:30.
It's a situation that was unavoidable.
Well, right.
And it's not as if she blew off your wedding to do something else.
Well, I don't
She
know.
would have much preferred to do your wedding than to be incarcerated. So the only question is, what are your damages? And what damages can you reasonably expect from the defendant? Now, she certainly has to return your deposit to you, which is $200, right?
Correct.
She has offered you $1,000, and I think that that is a pretty reasonable offer under
Right.
the circumstances. So that's my judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
some of the more elegant things was like a fondue pot with Baileys and chocolate drizzled on tea biscuits, and these folks ate hot dogs.
I checked with other catering companies, and they would have been spending like $2,000 for 150 people.
And now the next case.
All parties on Hart versus Kirby. Step forward, please.
18-year-old salesperson Jennifer Hart is suing former friend, 18-year-old package handler Brian Kirby, for damage to her car and stealing money from her wallet.
Ms. Hart, according to your complaint, the defendant caused damage to your car and stole your wallet or money from your wallet. The defendant said he was in your car, but he didn't cause the kind of damage you're talking about. From what I gather from these papers, you were at the defendant's house visiting an ex-boyfriend or something who was also there. Mr. Kirby, according to you, you believed that the plaintiff's boyfriend had stolen money from your father. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in order to get the money back for your father, tell me what you did.
It's like can I tell you, start from my point of view?
Now listen to me. You believe that the plaintiff's boyfriend went into your father's room and stole money. Is that right?
Yes.
So you decided to do something to the plaintiff's car, right?
No.
Did you go into the plaintiff's car?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do in the plaintiff's car?
I opened up her car door, and then I proceeded to press the button because it's attachable city face. Took the city.
I don't know what you're talking about. Press a button and it's a detachable city face. I have no idea what that is.
All right, the city face comes off of the CD player, and I took the CD face off the CD player and put it in my jacket, and then walked to my house.
And was she inside of your house at the time?
Yes.
So she didn't know that you were doing that?
No.
Now, what did she have to do with money that the boyfriend allegedly stole from your father?
Well, she's the one that brought him into my house.
Had you ever met the boyfriend before?
Yeah, he hangs around with my little brother.
So he'd been to your house before?
Yes.
So he wasn't a stranger coming into your house?
But through the grapevine, I heard that...
I don't care what you heard through the grapevine. Through the grapevine, you don't talk about in court.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 18-year-old salesperson Jennifer Hart is suing former friend, 18-year-old package handler Brian Kirby, for damage to her car and stealing money from her wallet.
Now, the boyfriend had been to your house before?
Yes.
Fine. So, knocks the door, Jennifer comes in with the boyfriend, sits in your house. Go ahead.
So then we proceeded back to my room, and we was back there shooting the breeze. So I asked them if they're thirsty, and they say yes. So I get up to go get some pop. So I'm walking back to my room, and I see Josh, like, jump back, and I knew that he was snooping in my room. So then I walk in my room, I'm getting all loud with him. I'm like, man, what are you doing snooping around in my stuff, man? You're supposed to show me more respect than that. You know what I'm saying? He is in my house. He should show me respect, not going through my stuff. That's not showing me any kind of respect. So then he jumps up, punches me. I fall down on the couch. I grabbed him, slammed him down on the couch. Then my brother hears all this commotion. He runs back there. Him and Jennifer break it up. Well, Jennifer pulls her boyfriend into the bathroom. That's when I went outside and took the CD face off of her CD player. So then I'm walking back in my house, and she has no idea.
So far, I haven't heard anything about your father's money.
Well, before I went out to the car, that my brother's like, the stuff is missing, the money and the watch. I'm like, all right, so I used the CD face as collateral in order to get my stuff back, which I never received back. So then I come back in my house, and her and her boyfriend's coming out, and she's like, I think it's time for us to leave. So I was like, yeah, get out of my effing house. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff's coming up missing, and it was there before they came into my house. So then Jennifer and her boyfriend walk outside, they're getting in the car, and I look out the window to make sure they're gone. Well, Jennifer comes running back up saying, somebody stole her CD player. So then I reached into my jacket, I was like, nobody stole your CD player. I handed her back your CD face, shut the door in her face. Then, 2 days later, I received all these threatening phone calls from her boyfriend and his brother, saying they're going to beat me and my little brother up and all kinds of stuff. So I had to get my phone number changed because they're harassing me. And
that's your story?
yeah.
All right. Now, Miss Hart, Show me the damage to your car.
Do you want the estimates too? Or just the pictures?
Let's just see the pictures first.
Okay.
Well, it looks as if, unless this was done before, it was more than just pressing a little button and the face comes off here. I mean, I'm not good with electrical stuff, Bert.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot more damage than the face coming off, Judge.
Let me see the estimate.
This one was for the parts of the car, and that's for the CD player and the installation, I believe.
That's for the CD player, parts for the car.
Okay. And what about this wallet, Miss Hart?
Whenever I went into Brian's house, he said that went there with Josh. Josh was already there whenever I got there. I got off work and went over there to see them. And
What word
so
didn't you understand? I said wallet.
It was laying in the middle of my seats whenever I went into the house. Whenever I went back out and noticed that my stuff was gone, all the money was out of it, and he said that he didn't do it.
He might not have done it.
I don't know who else would have. He was the only one that got in my car.
Was your car open?
I left it unlocked because I'd been over there
You left it
many
unlocked.
times before. Yeah.
You left it unlocked.
Yeah.
What kind of brains does it take to leave your wallet with money in an unlocked car?
I've been over to their house like so
I
many
don't care whether
times
you were over at
before.
their house. I don't care if you were in a monastery. People with intelligence don't leave their wallet in the middle of a console with money in it in an unlocked car. You got me?
Yeah.
Good. Now, this is not a very difficult case, Mr. Kirby. What you did that day was to commit a crime, and you could have been arrested for it because you went into her car, you defaced her property. You had no right to enter her car. It wasn't even Miss Hart that you thought had taken property out of your house. It was somebody else that you were holding her responsible for. You can't do that. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes.
Look at me.
Yes.
For what? Look at me.
Contributing to a minor.
Contributing to a minor? Contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
Yes.
In what context, sir? How old are you?
18.
So that must have been a rather recent arrest.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
And the minor was a female
Yes.
who was under the age of 16.
Yes.
And was that your only arrest, Mr. Kirby? Is not an answer.
No, I got arrested twice. The second time was for stealing some condoms.
Some condoms.
Yes, out of Marsh.
That was in and around the time you were contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
No, that was after.
Oh. The damage, as indicated in your estimates, Ms. Hart, is $664. Judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Step forward, please.
21-year-old Army National Guardsman Heather Johnson and her fiancé, 22-year-old telecommunications technician Sean Abbots, are suing 34-year-old hotel maintenance manager Jeff Lacasse for unpaid wages and a deposit on a car.
All right, this is not a very difficult case. I'm going to start with Mr. Lacasse. Mr. Lacasse, you knew the plaintiff casually, I assume. He did a little bit of work for you at some point,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that's another small part of this lawsuit that he says you owe him for a day's pay. Do you owe him for a day's pay?
The hotel that I work for owes him for a day's pay.
Did you ask him to work for you for that day?
I asked him to work for the hotel. We were doing, to expound on that a little bit, we were doing the installation of some furniture at the hotel.
Did he ever sign anything with the hotel?
I don't think so.
Well, if he didn't sign anything with the hotel, sir, and you asked him to work, were you in charge of this project?
Yes, I was.
Then you pay him, because he was never paid. And if you were in charge of the project and you didn't see to it that he got signed up to be put on the hotel's payroll, you pay him. I'll figure that out in a minute. Let's get to the real crux of this lawsuit. You sold him a car
Yes, I did.
for $900.
Yes, I did.
According to you, he gave you $200 in cash at some point. Is that
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
And he also gave you a check.
That's correct.
And before he gave you the cash, he gave you the check.
That's correct.
And he said to you that the check may bounce
That's correct.
later. And he said, let me give you the cash instead. So he gave you the cash. But you and your wife went and deposited the check.
The check had been deposited before the cash was received.
Fine. And you got the money for the check?
We did not. The check went bad. It went insufficient funds. We were given $200 for the check.
So all you got so far was $200?
That's correct.
Okay. In any event, he had the car for a little more than a week's time. You couldn't come to terms with method of payment on the car, so you took the car back.
That's correct.
And you're keeping the $200?
Yes, I am.
What makes you think that you're entitled to keep the $200?
When we first went to sell the truck, I purchased a battery so the truck would start. It had been sitting for over a year. And then there are phone calls that I made several times over and over and over again to try to get one of either Mr. Abbott's or Miss Johnson to call me to let me know what was going on, and then my time and efforts to go get the truck and bring it back to my residence.
How far does he live from where you are?
Probably about 25, 30 miles.
Not a big deal.
No.
He told you initially when you gave him the car that he probably would not be able to pay for this all at one time.
That's correct.
So?
Well,
you knew money
but
was tight?
the situation was, though, is that he also told me that he was going to be getting a loan from his step-grandmother.
He was going to try to get a loan.
He was going to try.
Try.
But
what he said was, I'm going to try to get a loan.
That's very true.
Well, he didn't get the loan. So you knew he had difficulty. You knew you had this old truck laying there that you hadn't started for a year. So, did you sell the truck?
I sold the truck to him.
After you repossessed it.
No, we did not sell the truck. I kept it.
He drives it to
Oh,
work.
just a second. Because now it's working, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's working. All right, easy case. You got the truck, you want to give him the truck, or you want to give him the $200?
I'll give him the $200.
Perfect. Now let's talk about the day's pay. How many hours did you work?
I worked 7 hours.
Which was, you were supposed to be paid $8 an hour?
$56, yeah, total.
Fine. It's easy. Anything else? What do you want to say?
Your Honor, I would just like to say, in regards back to the truck, if I may, the $200 that was given to us as a down for the truck, it wasn't the whole amount. The agreement was the $900, and we were willing to work with them. But after almost 3 weeks went by, after phone call trying to get a hold of them.
They didn't have the car 3 weeks.
Yes, ma'am, they did. They did have the car for 3 weeks.
Ma'am, we had the car.
Shh. I read all the papers. You made the deal with him on the 29th of August, and on September 12th, you repossessed the car. All right, listen to me. You say you had to put in a battery, right? Mm-hmm. You're driving the truck.
But
Shh. You're driving the truck. Do you drive it to work?
Yes, ma'am, I do now.
Perfect. You don't expect him to pay for that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $256. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
that's all right.
Well, they wanted their $200 back, and I can understand that.
I'm somewhat pleased.
It really doesn't matter because I'm going to Disneyland.
I just wish they could have been more friends about it, since we were friends in the past.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 488 on the calendar in the matter of Houghton versus Nicolay.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Let me see if I understand this case. Miss Horton, your husband was incarcerated.
Right.
And while he was incarcerated, you were living not far from the defendant.
Correct.
You had an arrangement where your husband would make collect calls to her phone from prison in order to talk to you.
Correct. It was from county jail.
And there was quite a bill that was amassed, over $400 worth of collect phone calls. At some point, you agreed to sign over title to an old truck that's about 20 years old to the defendant to hold as collateral for the monies that you owed her for the phone bill.
Not exactly. The title for the truck was only to be used
Just a second. You agreed to sign over the title to her?
Yes.
Yes. To ensure that your husband paid the bill?
Actually, what was the
Go
whole
ahead.
point? The point about the title and me giving it to Pam was so she can use for leverage, so Michael could buy back the title because it was his truck, and she figured he would actually be more apt to pay the phone bill for his title to the truck because that was his only.
Whatever. It was really to be held as collateral until the bill was paid.
The title.
The truck, not the title. The title isn't worth anything. The title is just a piece of paper. Your husband got out of jail, and an agreement was not worked out, I assume. Your husband went and took the truck. At some point, your husband went and took the truck from where? Miss Nicolay.
Actually, she stole it from my house on November the 15th.
Who came and took the truck from the house?
Dolores and the tow truck driver that she supposedly is having an affair with.
I don't care. Okay. Now, what you want is you want the truck back. Do you have the truck now?
No, I sold it.
Sold it. When did you sell it?
I sold it, actually I signed title over a few days ago to a gentleman that had purchased it.
So this is February.
Yes.
Between the time that she signed the truck over to you, which was when?
She signed it over on September the 18th.
And when did he get out of jail?
He got out in October.
Between October and February, when you signed title over to somebody else, did he pay you the money for the phone bill?
No, he did not. He called me up and said that we had agreed on $430 and I would turn the truck over to him. And there you have a Thunderbird that's been sitting on our property that I agreed to store. And that and the truck he was to pick up on November the 15th. And that's the date that they stole it.
November 15th, he was supposed to bring you the money.
He was supposed to bring the money and remove both the vehicles from the property. And that day they stole the Blazer from the property.
You mean she came with the truck?
The tow truck gentleman, when I was not on my property, and loaded it up onto the vehicle, the back of the tow truck.
Okay, where's the husband now?
As far as I know, he was taken back to jail.
He was released. He was taken to jail.
She knows a lot more about your husband than you do.
Because
He was released. When?
I don't know. I talked to the CHP officer, and they said that they released him. Parole did.
Okay. So, Ms. Horton, what do you want?
all I wanted was for Michael to have his truck back, because at the time I had already purchased a vehicle.
No, what do you want now?
What do I want now?
Yeah.
To take all this back where it originally started, because it wasn't for her to have to do with whatever she wanted to do with. It wasn't her. She got
no,
a truck.
I'm asking what you're suing for now.
For the vehicle, because it wasn't hers to sell.
Sure was. She had the title.
But I didn't sign it for that purpose. Her and I
signed
were
it
friends.
over to her so that she could get paid from your husband for the phone calls that he had made to you collect. He got out of jail. He didn't pay her for the phone bill. What did you expect her to do?
Well,
you want to be standing over there and she's standing over here and saying you owe me $430 for a phone bill?
Actually, that would be all right, because it wasn't between me and her. It was between Michael and her. And
No, it wasn't.
She had talked to Michael on the phone.
No. No, it wasn't originally. According to you, it wasn't originally. According to you, the title to the truck rested in you. You had the ability to sign over the title to her. You did. You did. And you said, this is your story. You said, I thought she could use it for leverage to get Michael to pay the phone bill. That's what you told me. That's what you said right here.
Partially, because originally the truck title was in Dolores and Michael, or Dolores and Michael. And
whatever, I
Pam,
don't care. I don't care about that. The title to the truck is in your name. According to your complaint, you say that you wanted her to hold the truck to give her leverage to get Michael to pay the bill. That's what you say.
That was something we both had discussed for my
Fine,
best
that's what you
interest.
decided to do. So she said, fine, I want my phone bill paid, and if I can't get my phone bill paid, at least I have something from this jailbird who's in and out of jail all the time. Right? She knew she wasn't going to get a sou out of you. Why didn't you pay the phone bill? It's your husband.
I had attempted to pay in ways of helping her with her mom's.
Not helping her. Straighten out a house and babysitting her children. I'm talking about paying her cash money, U.S. dollars, to pay for her phone bill. The phone company doesn't accept babysitting services.
Well,
the phone company accepts cash money.
for one, I wasn't the one who was accepting the phone calls. I didn't tell her to do it.
Did you ask her if you could collect phone calls from my husband so I could talk to him?
No. Michael had asked her and her son before they even discussed it with me, because
Go ahead.
No.
Yeah,
Actually,
she's full of baloney. I got that already.
actually, she had received a few phone calls before I'd even known that the phone calls were receiving at my mother's home. My mother is an elderly lady, and she has Alzheimer's disease, which lives on our property. My son stays down there with her. And Dolores was going down there and receiving the telephone calls.
Before you even knew about it.
Right.
That sound right to you?
I think DJ was the one who accepted the phone calls.
Whatever. It's not her responsibility. It's not her responsibility. It's your husband.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dolores Houghton says former friend Pamela Nicolay owes her for a Chevy Blazer. Pamela says the truck was collateral for collect calls made from jail by Dolores's husband.
You want to say to him, don't call here, collect anymore? I'm not going to be here to speak to you because I don't want to incur any bills?
I did try that.
You tried it, but it didn't work. All you have to do is not go to the phone.
And there was times I never went to the
I'm
phone.
not talking about times you never went to the phone. $430 worth, you did go to the phone.
Okay, I went to the phone.
According to you, it's not your truck anyway. It's Michael's truck. Right? Is that what you just told me? It was Michael's truck? So what are you doing here? You want money from her?
No, I was wanting Michael to get his truck back so
He can't get his truck back. She sold it. So what do you want?
I guess if she wanted her $400 phone bill, she got paid her $400 phone bill. And in reality, if I sold her the truck, well, how much did I sell it to her for? $400?
How much did you get for the truck?
I had to put a lot of money back into it, but I sold it for $1,500.
Good. So you made a profit.
After Michael put a transmission in it.
After they stole it, they put a transmission in it.
Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah.
He should have saved the money that he spent on the transmission and given her phone bill.
He got a transmission from Wrecking Yard.
He's very resourceful, this guy. He's just not resourceful about getting money and
You're
paying
right.
his obligations.
You're right
Good.
about that.
So what are you doing here? I don't know what you're doing here. You say it's Michael's truck. That's what you told me. It's Michael's truck. I just wanted Michael to get his truck back, right? Michael did not get his truck back because he didn't pay the phone bill. So what are you doing here?
I am here because I initially was just wanting to go back from where she took the truck that she wasn't supposed to have in her possession because it wasn't her truck to take.
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Foshi, step forward, please.
21-year-old homemaker Valerie Foshi is suing her mother, 44-year-old massage therapist Deborah Foshi, for a series of unpaid loans and car payments.
Miss Foshi, you can stand up, sir. The defendants are your parents.
Yes, they are.
According to your complaint, you and your husband moved into your parents' home sometime in 1998.
Yes.
And you moved into their home, according to your parents, so that you could save some money, so that you could set up your own nest.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So your parents were helping you out.
Yes, they were.
According to you, sometime more recently, while you were still living there, your parents asked you for 2 loans, one for $300 at one point and one for $400.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that forms part of your lawsuit because you say that they haven't paid you back.
Right.
And the second part of your lawsuit is that at some point, also in 1998, you and your parents bought a car together, but that for periods of time, they drove the car,
Yes, ma'am.
and you were paying the car note,
Yes, I was.
and you want them to pay for the months that they drove the car.
They never paid a payment at all.
Okay, so that's what this lawsuit is about.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's start with the 2 loans. When was the first time that your parents asked you for money?
On the 31st of December in 1999, they borrowed $400.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding that.
They had went and they spent their money on things other than their bills, and they just blew it, and they needed money to pay their house note.
So who did you have a discussion with?
My father.
What did he say to you, and what did you say to him?
He said, desperate times call for desperate measures. We blew our money. We need some to cover the house note.
And
Can
what
I
did
borrow
you-
it from you? And I said, yes, you can. Go get it out of the bank.
He used the word borrow.
Yes.
And when was the second time that you loaned money to your parents?
On the 23rd of May this year,
Yes?
and he borrowed $300.
Tell me about that.
They just needed money for bills.
No, tell me what they said to you. Who did you speak to, your mother or your father?
I spoke with my mother.
What did she say to you?
She said we blew our money again on the casinos. Can I borrow some money to pay my bills? I said, how much do you need? She said, $300. I said, okay, go get it out of the bank. And this happened several times. I mean, they borrowed, over $1,600 from me in cash out of my bank account.
Okay, let me
Filled that
see
out.
what you have.
I have them highlighted for you.
You don't seem to deny that you, at least with regard to the $700, the $300 and the $400, that you did take that from your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Had you spent your money for your household bills on something else?
Well, that is not exactly what happened. That's her perception, I'm assuming. My husband works on commission. There's no business, there's no pay. Sometimes it's gravy, great pay, sometimes it's not. We got behind in our bills in paying them, and her dad and I went to her the first time. They were putting their check in the bank, saving it. To me, that's what family's for. If
No,
family's
but what
in
did you
need-
say to them?
We asked them if they could help us catch up our house note. She said just what she said, sure, go get it out of the bank.
So the word that you recall is catch up, not borrow.
I don't think I said borrow at all, no.
Did you, sir?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Do you remember the other money that you withdrew from her account?
Judge Judy, we withdrew money from her account on several occasions. We needed money. I never thought that this amount of money would ever lead us to this situation. We had taken care of her, and I mean, that's not big, proud me taking care of her. That's my mother's job, is to take care of her, and I was proud to do it. But we've always been there for each other, anytime we needed each other.
Well, I've never
Any of
turned
us.
her down, ever, ever. If she ever needed money, I always gave. They needed my car for 18 months. They needed a car. That's more than I've ever drove it. I gave, and I gave, and I gave. And now I need back.
Go ahead.
And they charged money on my credit card also.
Tell me about it. Tell me about the circumstances surrounding her asking you for the credit card.
They just didn't have the money, and they wanted to, some people got married at church, so she gave them both $40 gift certificates for JCPenney's, and she charged it on my card. And
did she? Well, tell me about the discussion.
She said, "May I use your card?" I said, "Yes. You need to pay me back when the bill comes in." Never paid it back.
You were living there rent-free for
Yes.
2 years.
It's
You
not
know-
that we didn't offer. We offered to pay.
I understand.
Okay.
So it would be sort of logical if you offered to pay and they said no, so they were good people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
For them, if they really needed money, to say, could you help us out paying for our note?
If that's what they would have said, that would have been fine. But they said, "Can we borrow this money?"
Okay, well, I have to agree with you that that's what was said because neither your mother or your father has a clear recollection.
Well-
Neither one of them were able to say to me that they did not say borrow.
Well, they did say borrow because they made a payment back.
Did they?
Yes, they paid me $178 back on the debt that they owed.
Okay. What about this bill for the credit card, that $80? Did you, in fact, use her credit card for $80 worth of
Yes,
gifts?
I did. The credit card is in our joint names, and I needed to use it. Judge Judy, we have had this thing going for, I don't know how long. Put it on my account. Just put it on my account.
Okay. Well, I guess your daughter really felt at some point that she wanted to do some sort of payback. I'm going to get to the reasons behind it in a second. However, let's get to the car. When you purchased this car in 1978,
I wasn't born.
excuse me, 1998, sorry. You don't have to rub it in that you weren't born in 1978.
Oh, sorry.
I understand you weren't born in 1978. What was the agreement? It was your car.
It was my car. He co-signed for it.
And how did it come about that they used the car?
They had several cars. They all broke down. I let them use my car.
Was
And
there-
They
you-
said, "We'll keep it up. We'll take care of it. We'll keep it up," is what they said. I assumed, and I guess I shouldn't assume that meant they'll take care of the note. They put gas in it. Did they mean for me to put gas in it also? No.
No, well, then Ms. Fauché, there was no agreement for them to pay the note.
I asked them, "You can have this car. Take care of it. Keep it up."
Well, keep it
Pay
up
the
is
note.
not. Listen, no, you didn't say pay the note.
That they knew that's what I meant.
No, no, no. I
I'm
don't
just
believe
supposed to
that.
supply them with a car because I'm going to supply them with a car.
Because evidently you didn't need that car at the time that they did. Just like you needed a place to live with your husband so that you could save up and have a little bit of money so that you'd have your own nest egg.
They're my parents. I love my parents. And
Good, then what are you doing here? Then that's my question. What are you doing here? It's very unfortunate that you're here, but I cannot say with any real confidence that they don't owe you $1,222 because $1,400 they acknowledge they withdrew from the account. You clearly state that this money was borrowed from you. They did return $178 to your account.
What about using my credit card?
And the $80. 1302.
And my car's broke down now. It's been broke down for a month.
That's your problem.
I wasn't driving it.
That's your problem.
So for
you had no
18
agreement with them. If it's broken down, was it returned to you?
No, it's still at his work, broke down at his work. And I'm still making payments on it.
I assume, sir, that if you're using the car and if it is not drivable, you will fix it.
That's correct.
Well, then just do it. It's not-
Is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
Party's on Opp versus Gallagher. Step forward, please.
29-year-old Julie Opp and her boyfriend, John Gallagher, a private investigator, drove to Mexico so Julie could live out a private fantasy, to dance in a strip club. But when the time came, John got jealous and a fight erupted at the border.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. All rise.
Judges, number 7 on the calendar in the matter of Opp versus Gallagher. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Well, this is some story, depending upon the version. Bottom line, Miss Opp, you are suing the defendant, Mr. Gallagher, because you say he assaulted you on a recent trip to Mexico.
Yes.
Why you were there is somewhat in dispute. We'll get to that in a minute. He says that you assaulted him first. Something that you don't really deny in your papers.
Yes, I did.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Were you his girlfriend?
We were girlfriend and boyfriend.
For how long? Before you took this trip, this fateful
Probably
trip?
a year and a half.
What were you doing in Mexico?
We originally went down there to get him some steroids and some medicine that takes you off of steroids.
No, that's not true, Your Honor.
Well, I'll get to you in a second. All right, so tell me when you left. You left for Mexico on what day of the week?
We left on the 17th. I don't remember what day of the week that was.
Oh, was it on a weekend?
I don't even remember.
Were you planning on spending a few days there?
No, we just went there for the day to pick up his steroids.
So you left in the morning?
Yeah.
What time did you get there?
I think it was around 10.
In the
11.
morning?
Yeah.
So what did you do? Tell me about the day.
We got there and we went to the pharmacy to look for his stuff, and he wanted to find a doctor where he could get his steroids, and that took an hour or two, and then we went, had some tacos, drank a few beers, and basically that took a couple more hours. Then we went to a strip bar. We had previously talked about me dancing, and I said no, I'm not comfortable
Well, tell me
with
if
it.
that's what I don't. That's what I find so interesting about this case. You went to a few strip bars and you talked about you dancing.
Well, before we went to the strip bar, we talked about it.
What was the conversation?
He wanted to see me dancing.
No.
Go ahead.
He wanted to see me dance because it was kind of like a fantasy thing between us. He just wanted to see it. I wasn't a dancer. He'd never seen me on a stage, and I told him if I did do it, I would need to drink a lot in order to get up there. And so we went to the strip bar. I drank a lot, and
you got pretty drunk?
I don't really get drunk because I get sick really easy, but I got tipsy. Definitely, I had to relax in order to do it.
Okay.
And, so I drank. He said, "Come on, keep doing it, you know, go do it." And finally, I did it. I went up there and I danced. And when I got down
at the strip bar.
Yes. And
Bambi's.
Do you have to? I mean, can anybody just go there and do this? Do you have to ask a manager?
Anybody can do it. There was other American girls there doing it too. And there was a bunch of Marines. It wasn't.
Okay. Feels foolish now, doesn't it?
I've never done it before.
Oh, okay.
And it was supposed to be something private between him and I, and it didn't end up that way.
So what happened? You danced?
I danced. I was done. We went to another bar, and he's like, do it here, and we're sitting there, and there was a girl dancing in front of us, and he says, give me $1, I want to tip her. I said, I'm not going to give you $1 to tip her. Use your own money. And we got into an argument from that point on. So we walked out of the strip bar, and we're arguing on the street, and he called me a whore. And I said, how could you call me a whore? You're the one who talked me into doing this. And he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I shouldn't have said that. Hit me. And I go, no. And he goes, hit me, you're a whore. And he just kept saying it. Finally, I hit him. I mean, we were arguing. It wasn't just a calm thing.
So you hit him?
So I hit him.
Where'd you hit him?
I'm sorry?
Where did you hit him?
In the face.
One time or more than one time?
One time, and then he called me a whore and told me, hit me again, hit me again. So I hit him one more time. And then we grabbed a taxi.
3 times.
And then we grabbed a taxi, and we were driving back because we were going to get in trouble at that point. And he started calling me a whore again. So instead of hitting him, I grabbed my clog off my foot and hit him over the head. So I went and hit him in the face. But tempers were not good, and he kept calling me a whore. And
he was pretty drunk too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
you get to the border.
We get to the border, and things have calmed down. We're back on this side. It's kind of over. I said I had to go to the bathroom before we go back, and in the parking lot where you park, there's a public restroom, and we went in there, and he starts arguing, and he's talking about it, and I said, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want to argue. It's over. Let's just go home. It's been a bad day. And I tried to get out of the bathroom because I was done, and he wouldn't let me out of the bathroom. He kept arguing with me. And so I went to open the door, unlock the door, and get out. So it was hot and stinky. It's gross in there. And he wouldn't let me out. Finally, he grabbed me, and he pulled me away from the door and shoved me against the wall. And then that's when the back of my head hit the wall, and I passed out. And he was yelling at me, stop it, you're faking it, you're faking it. And I was looking at him saying, I'm not faking it, I'm passing out right now. And I was slumping down to the ground. And when I came to, because I kind of went out, when I came to, I noticed my hearing was gone. And then I became hysterical because I didn't know what was wrong. I'd never even heard of a ruptured eardrum. I didn't know what it was. I thought I had gone deaf for some reason. And I started screaming to him. We walked back to the car. He finally let me out, and we started to drive away. I said, take me to a hospital. This isn't normal. There's something wrong with me. Take me to a hospital. And he said, no, I'm not, you're fine. You're faking it. And so I grabbed my cellular phone because he wasn't going to take me to the hospital to dial 911, and he grabbed the phone and wouldn't let me call. And so because he wouldn't go to the hospital, I opened the door and pretended I was going to jump out. In order to let him know that I was serious, I needed to go to the hospital.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She would remain anonymous. No one would find out about this, and she could let her inhibitions go.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Opp is suing ex-boyfriend John Gallagher, claiming he punctured her eardrum during a fight over her amateur stripping debut.
So you have medical bills that you want him to pay for?
Yes.
What were your medical bills?
One's the doctor's bill, which is $228.64. One is the lab bill, which is $267.24. And then there's the emergency hospital bill, which is $1,306.
Okay, Mr. Gallagher. You had enough water, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Go to the bathroom?
Let's hear your story. You went to Mexico.
I'll tell you the real version of the story. Actually, it started about a week before the date we went down. I can't recall the date, but the week prior, she had gone down to Mexico with a girlfriend named Melissa, done the same thing. She had been flirting with the idea of possibly trying, dancing at nightclubs. And, can't blame her. She's, pretty attractive and can make a lot of money at it. So they had gone down and came back and told me the story, how she had gotten up on stage. And I don't think she actually meant to, but she ended up getting up on stage, and she made a bunch of money. And she was kind of excited. And it probably was a fantasy thing also, but we decided to go down on that Saturday.
How much is a bunch of money? I'm just curious.
She had a lot of crinkle $1 bills, but I'm sure more than 100 of them.
$80. $80. It's not a lot of money.
She's probably on there for like 5 minutes and made $80.
This was before you made
I had
$80 when you went down there with the girlfriend.
With my girlfriend, I told him about it, and he said, I want to do that. And we talked about it.
So
and
you
I
went
said,
down the week before with
I said, I said that
You
I
went-
wasn't really comfortable with it.
But you went down a week before you made $80.
Right.
So she wanted me to go down with
I'm
her
going
as...
to charge you for the water.
Can I get something better? So, a little nervous. She wanted me to go with her, partly as protection. Melissa couldn't go, and also fantasy thing. But we didn't go down in the morning, and we did not go down to buy steroids. It's a lie. We didn't go down to buy steroids. We actually went down. It was dark out when
Ask
we were
him to
driving.
take his jacket off.
Yeah. We went. While we were there, well, we did go down, but it wasn't in the morning. It was dark out. It was probably like 7 or 8 o'clock when we started driving down. She drove her car, and we did stop at the border, and we parked in that parking lot and took the red bus. It's just this red bus you take in. It's like a mile. It costs $1. And I did buy some pharmaceuticals there. They were not steroids. I didn't go down to buy steroids. Then we started drinking, and actually went to a taco bar across the street from the strip bars, and we had some beers, and we went to, like, I think 2 other bars and drank a lot of tequila. We did get pretty drunk. And she got her courage up, and she really wasn't sure if she was going to do this, and maybe I did, you know, provoke her a little bit to do it. We went to the first bar, I think it was Bambi's. And arrangements were made for her to go on stage, and she went on the backstage.
So let me stop you. How were arrangements made? Look. How
went
were
up-
arrangements made for her to go on the stage?
I was kind of like her agent.
Well, Mr. Gallagher, that's a conclusion, sir. Tell me exactly what you did to
Went up to,
make these
one of the-
arrangements.
Grabbed one of the guys, like the Mexican guys that worked there that spoke English, and said she wants to dance. And then at first they look at her and like, yeah, but they try to play hardball. No, you know, we can't have her up. And we negotiate back and forth.
What do you negotiate about?
Just to get her on, you know.
What negotiating usually involves money.
Yeah, well, she's gonna
So
make
let me
money.
hear.
He wanted free
Oh,
drinks.
free beers for me.
Just a second. So you negotiated with one of the proprietors, or
I drank free, she got to dance. That was the negotiation. Oh, she got to drink free too, that was a given. And so we negotiated she was going to go on the backstage. I think she wanted to get on the front stage where she would make more money and have more exposure, this little room in the back with a small backstage. She gets up there and takes her clothes off, and hell breaks loose. I mean, they can't believe what they're seeing. She's very beautiful. I mean, the whole bar moves to the back where it's getting crowded while she's dancing and going off. And I mean, bottles start flying, and people are like getting so close to each other. And I mean, it was like a madhouse. And she starts, you know, dancing. And I got, you know, kind of jealous of her, you know, to see her doing that.
so you got angry.
I got angry and I got jealous. It was
Seriously?
painful. No, I didn't get angry. I tried to keep in perspective. Tried to. And
But you had a lot of booze.
we were getting drunk. We were drinking.
Well, she wasn't drinking when she was up there dancing, but you was continuing to drink when
She was
she was
drinking
up.
when she got down, though.
But you were drinking while she was dancing.
Yeah, but not
Okay.
as much as her.
She came down and you got angry. Tell me what happened.
No, I
when
didn't get angry. When she came down, we decided to go to another bar where she could do the same thing because it was kind of wearing thin there and it got kind of violent. They were going crazy when they saw her. So we went to a bar next door.
Were you fond of this lady?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not registered. Maybe it's my puritanical upbringing. You know, that's not funny. That's not meant to be funny, sir. I just don't understand a man who would encourage. In fact, that I think she's nuts for wanting to do it in the first place.
Well, that's
but
what
a
she does
man
now.
who would encourage someone who he's fond of, negotiate, act as her agent.
Well, I make sure she's
To-
okay, you know, and nothing would take place. I wasn't going to let anyone hurt her.
That's not what I'm talking about, sir. Usually there's a certain proprietary interest that
Well,
men
that's what
have
she does
in their
now.
women and women have in men that they like.
It was in
I
the
don't quite
secrecy.
understand you.
It was in the secrecy of Mexico where she would remain...
Order.
She would remain anonymous. No one would find out about this, and she could let her inhibitions go. And
His inhibition.
All right. Yours
she
too.
drugged me
Listen,
down there.
you went there before without him.
Yes.
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 Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, that sounds pretty reasonable
That's
to
why I
me.
asked
Both
him.
acted like idiots.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Gallagher admits he became jealous when his girlfriend Julia danced in a strip club, but he says he didn't mean to cause the injury to her eardrum.
I want you to tell me she assaulted you because you called her a whore. Is that right?
In the second bar, I made the horrible mistake of calling her a whore. I did. It was
Okay.
horrible.
And tell me about the assault that took place on you?
Well, first, she lied because I didn't just hand the girl money. I was standing there, I felt guilty. I'm next to this girl dancing, and I took one of her dollar bills that she had just earned of hundreds, and I gave her one, and she got jealous and was pissed off.
Were you injured when she hit you?
The first 2 times she's hitting like a girl, it didn't hurt, and I did say, yeah, you hit like a girl, hit me again. She hit me again. Third time, she belted me so hard, my lip just exploded. Blood was coming out. And it almost knocked me down. Believe it or not, she can hit pretty good.
Okay, and what about hitting you with the clog in your head?
Well,
She hit you with the clog.
Federales are coming, and it's an emergency, so they stuff us in a cab, and we're driving, but we just keep arguing in the cab, arguing back and forth, and she hits me in the back of the head with a clog, and I barely remember that, except the next day I had a big bump on my head. We get through the United States, like she said, we go to the parking lot to use the bathroom before wherever we're going to go. We're going to drive. We're both drunk. And she gets passionate again. We start arguing. We had moments of calm and fury where we kind of calm down. And she's that way. She can fight good. So, you know, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was drunk at the time. I can't remember every detail that occurred. But I know that she was starting to get angry again. And I don't know if she was going to hit me or I thought she was going to hit me or she tried to. Can't remember. But I know that I grabbed her and I picked her up. And she was wrestling. And she went limp.
This was in the bathroom?
In the bathroom. And she was flailing, and I was drunk, and I didn't know that she hit her head. She just went limp in my hands. And she sunk down to the ground on her butt. And she sat there and looked up at me, and then she started to say she couldn't hear. And I really thought she was embellishing something. I didn't believe her at first. And she started to cry and scream and get more hysterical. And I didn't believe that she was hurt.
Ultimately, you took her to the hospital.
And ultimately, we ended up at the hospital. Her injuries are obviously real. The doctor found out that she had a bruise here on the back of her left ear, I think. Left ear. And she was, I don't know if she lost hearing or not.
What did you originally offer to pay her to
When the bills
help
came,
offset?
we'd split it.
You'd split it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable
That's
to
why I
me. You
asked
both
him to-
acted like idiots. It sounds pretty reasonable to me that you should split it.
She probably did hit her head as a result of me lifting her up. I don't think on purpose. I know on purpose I didn't try to hurt her.
After you arrived back in the United States and after this whole incident, did you continue to see each other?
Yes.
For how long?
About 4 more months until I kept catching him cheating on me. So I finally...
So you saw each other for 4 months after that? You
Off
had
and
already
on.
gotten these bills?
Yes, I'd gotten it, and he's given me $25 on those
50.
bills.
I gave you 50.
25.
Did you ever take up this dancing as an occupation?
That's
Yes.
what I'm doing now.
Good, too.
Judge Judy is ready to rule. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Opp wants her former boyfriend, John Gallagher, to pay the medical bills for an injury he caused when he became jealous over her appearance in a Tijuana strip club.
I read medical bills at $1,800.
And then also, I was suing him for $300 because I had to get a restraining order against him.
That's your problem. Listen to me. Miss Opp, I think you made a big mistake. I think this whole escapade in Mexico was a big mistake, and I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying to you that getting drunk, and engaging in bar dancing with your boyfriend is not something that's designed to solidify a relationship in normal terms. Maybe I'm missing something. My kids might say to me, you know, you're operating in the 40s and 50s and 60s, Mother, but I don't think so. I think still people who care for each other don't want to see other people slipping dollar bills in somebody's panties.
It wasn't that
Do you
bad.
know what I mean?
Nah.
Sir, and certainly not acting as their agent, which is, to me, almost like acting under these circumstances like a pimp.
It was pretty innocent.
It's pretty nasty. So you ought to pay for, I'm not going to have him pay for the whole thing. You contributed to this ridiculousness. And as it happens, I believe that you contributed to it even more than you initially told me you did, because you went down there before with a girlfriend, which is something that you didn't tell me right away. You said you had never done anything like this before. Right? Isn't that what you told me?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so your medical bills, you didn't have any medical bills from being clocked by her, did you?
No.
Your medical bills were $1,800, and you're going to pay for half. So the judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And on the next Judge Judy.
He lies, he cheats, he's not faithful. It just didn't work out between us.
We were drunk.
I don't get drunk.
You were drunk.
I
was drunk.
I get buzzed. If I get drunk, I get sick. I don't get drunk. He's the one who got me into dance.
67-year-old retired machinist Max Dershua is suing his son, Max Jr., 42, because he removed his father's guns from his home. He's asking for attorney fees he paid to get the guns back.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 460 on the calendar in the matter of Dershua versus Dershua. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Are you Mrs. Dershua?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Dershua, do you think your son loves you?
I don't know.
Let me tell you what he says. Your papers indicate that your son removed some guns from your house that were your guns.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Your son says that he removed the guns from your house because he was concerned about you and concerned for his mother.
Yes.
Do you think he had reason to be concerned?
Yes, I certainly do.
Why were you concerned about your father's safety and your mother's safety?
Both of them. There have been very violent fights between the two of them, several 911 calls. My father had 2 strokes. My mom had 1. During that time, there were 3 suicide attempts by my father. I had just learned of it, that that's what the events were on the 3rd one, and I removed the guns at that time. After I removed the guns, a 4th attempt was made, where he attempted also to take my mom with him, as he put it.
How?
She went to make a 911 call because she found him in the car. He had stabbed himself in the arm. And this was on my birthday. And she went to make the 911 call, and he grabbed her, put her on the ground, throttled her throat, and said he was going to take her with him.
And how long ago was that?
That was about 3.5 years ago.
And your parents are separated
Yes.
since?
During that time is when he asked for the weapons back, was right when they started the separation. And I asked him, I said, Dad, I don't want to give them back to you. What do you need them for? And he said that he needed them for the money. I told him I would be glad to purchase them from him at that time. He said he was not interested in me having the firearms and was going to do anything he could to get me free of them.
Mr. Dershua,
Yes.
Senior, is everything that your son says so far accurate?
Yes, it is.
Don't you think he did the smart thing by removing the guns?
Yes, I certainly do think that he did the right thing, and I thanked him very much for taking on the responsibility of removing the guns from the house.
But what do you want now, sir?
I asked for the guns to be returned to me.
Why do you
And
need...
he refused to return the guns to me, and I told him at that time that they were my personal property. They did not belong to him or anybody else except me, and that I wanted them back.
What do you want them for?
I originally wanted them back to hang on the wall as mementos of my childhood. And since then, I was flexible and had second thoughts, and I thought, jeepers, I'm in fairly good health, I'm in good frame of mind, and there's no reason why I should not have the guns. And I told him to return them to me. They are my personal property, and when I thanked you for them, that didn't mean that you could keep them for the rest of your life. They are mine, and I want them, and I want you to return them to me. And if you don't return them to me, I am going to take you to court. If it costs me a lot of money in attorney's fees, I am going to expect you to reimburse me the attorney fees that it cost me to get the guns back. And he didn't listen to me, I don't think.
He seems like a pretty responsible young man that you raised, and a very nice young man. You ever had any difficulty with him before? Huh?
Yes, many times.
Okay. As an adult, sir,
Yeah.
how old are you?
I'm 42 years old.
Married or single?
Married.
You have children?
No.
Are you employed?
Yes.
What kind of-
Self-employed. I'm a photographer and hairstylist.
You remain close with your mother?
Yes.
Is that right?
I would like to say one thing, that it seems to me when my husband is angry at me, he tries to take it out on him because he knows how close we are.
How many children do you have?
I have two, Tim and Max Dursaway.
Are you the older brother?
Yes.
Where are the guns now?
The guns are at a friend of the family's house.
You put a value in your complaint on these guns of $500.
Yes.
None of us live forever, Mr. Dershowitz. What did you suppose would happen to these guns when you were no longer here?
I really couldn't care less.
Well, that's a good attitude. I mean, it really is. It's a good attitude.
I hope they're safe, and I hope that if anybody does get them, that they are in as good a shape as I believe that they are at the present time.
Did you at one time have issued against you by any court an order of protection or a restraining order with regard to your wife?
Yes.
And when was that?
Most of last year.
At the same time that he requested the guns back from me.
Okay. Does anybody have a copy of this restraining order?
I do.
May I see it, please? How long were you and your wife married?
It'll be 43 years, I can tell you, June 10th, this year. And I'm still going to be married on June 10th, if I'm alive.
Have there been divorce proceedings filed?
No, we both agreed to a separation. However, we agreed to a separation a long time ago, and she decided, for some reason or another, that she would make it legal and go through the legal procedures of getting a separation. So she hired an attorney, and then I hired an attorney to protect my rights, because at that time she told me that she was going to take everything she could get.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
We're family. We don't need to go to court over this. All you have to do is tell me what you want and I'll cut you a check.
And later today,
Your son was acting like an idiot. Your son was acting like a fool.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Max Dershowitz is suing his son Max Jr. for the attorney fees he spent to get his guns back. Max Jr. had the guns removed for fear of his father causing harm.
Are you living alone now, sir?
Yes.
Do you see your other son? Do you visit with your other son?
Well, when I get an opportunity.
Where does he live?
He lives in Riverside.
That's not so far away. You have grandchildren?
Yes, 2 grandchildren.
Do you visit with them?
Yes, usually they come down to the house where I'm living, and it's so short visit, I hardly even know that they've been there.
Mr. Dershowitz, I am, quite frankly, sir, sympathetic with your position to this extent. What you're saying to me is, I'm a grown-up, I'm an adult, I have all my faculties about me, and I don't want my children to start to make decisions for me about what's good and what's bad. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, perfect.
On the other side of that coin, sir, I am really most sympathetic with your son. Because if he were the one who returned these guns to you, and you used one of these guns either to harm yourself or to harm his mother, his life's over. Do you understand that?
Yes, I
His
do.
life is over.
Yes.
And I don't think any parent would want that for their child. I mean, if you came here, Mr. Dershowitz, and said to me, I've never done anything to suggest to my son that I would harm myself or harm his mother, and he really has no basis to be concerned about these guns that are mine, I would feel very differently, sir. But that's not the case. You have attached a financial amount of money in your lawsuit.
Yes.
You are suing for money. And I will feel more comfortable. So put the burden on me so that maybe you can make friends with your son again. I am going to give you a judgment for the money. And I am going to direct you, sir, to ensure that these guns, which are mementos of your father's history, you know, he's had them in his family for years. I don't know whether your brother has sons who might be interested in having these hunting rifles at some point in their lives, but he would, despite the fact that he says he doesn't care what happens to him when he's gone, I think he would probably like to know that they remain in his family, for whatever reason.
Yes.
Fine. So I'm going to give you, sir, a judgment for the exact amount that you are requesting, and you keep the guns safe. Got it?
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Please excuse you. You may step out. Here you are, sir. Back to your right, please.
We're family. We don't need to go to court over this. All you have to do is tell me what you want, and I'll cut you a check.
And now the next case.
Bodies on Smith versus Brown. Step forward, please.
Walter Smith and his 15-year-old son, Brian Davis, say Joseph Brown's 16-year-old son, Joe Jr., poured bleach on their carpet. Joe Jr. says Brian threatened him with a snake.
You the one with the snake?
Yes.
Up here. You the one with the bleach?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
Up here. And you are the fathers of these two geniuses.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your first name?
Brian.
Brian, tell me what you did to this young man with your snake.
Well, we were out.
No, over here.
We were out in front of the houses, and I had a snake, and I went like this, like I was gonna put it on him.
What kind of snake did you have?
A red-tailed boa, just a little snake about this big.
Well, you said this big, and then you
Well,
said this
about
big.
like-
Is it
about
growing?
this big.
About this big.
Yeah, about this big.
And what, you made believe you were going to put it on him?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I was just messing around.
And then what happened?
And then he threw like a icy or a Slurpee or something, I don't know what you call it, threw it on me. And then I went back towards my house and put the snake in the garage and got a cup of water and went back outside to throw it on him. And when I got out there, he had a cup in his hand, and he said, if you throw that on me, I'm gonna throw this on you. And it was bleach in a little cup. And then what I did is I pushed it out of his hand and threw the water on him and started going home. And then he came out of his house afterwards with a whole gallon of bleach. When I got into my house, I shut my door and he started to pour it on my back, and it got all over the carpet. And then my mom started coming downstairs, and then he went back home.
Your side.
Well, it was me, him, and a couple of other people. We were supposed to be going to the bowling alley. But instead, the dude that was supposed to be driving us said that he didn't want to go. So what we did instead is we stood outside and talked. He had his snake. This snake, I don't know what kind of snake it was, this big snake. The snake is hissing and snapping and jumping up. They thought it was funny. He turned the snake on me. So I said, get the snake away from me. I guess he didn't want to listen. Then I had went in the house and I came out with my soda. And he was like, what's in your cup? What's in your cup? And I was like, soda, right? And he knocked the cup out of my hand, threw something on me. I looked down at my clothes. My jeans and my shirt were starting to fade, so I assumed it was bleach because it was a yellowish color when he threw it out at me. I went in my house, got a thing of bleach, and came out, and I ran after him because he was running towards his house. He ran in his house. We ran in a complete circle around the kitchen and all the way to the thing. He turned around, and he tackled me. And I had the bleach in my hand. We were on the ground, and the bleach was going everywhere. His moms had just came down when we was on the ground. I didn't go in the house and throw any bleach anywhere.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
We might have could have resolved the matter, but
Well,
he was adamant about having my son arrested.
Your son's the one that came into my home. You should have came over. You knew what he did.
Real cases, real people, Judge Judy. Walter Smith and his 15-year-old son, Brian Davis, say Joseph Brown's 16-year-old son, Joe Jr., poured bleach on their carpet. Joe Jr. says Brian threatened him with a snake.
Why does your son have a boa?
He likes snakes. It's out in the garage. They keep it in an aquarium out in the garage.
He didn't keep it in the aquarium.
No, that day he had it out. But the account of the story, what he's saying, based on
Were you home?
Sean. No.
Were you home?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
You don't know what happened.
Just from my little son that witnessed it, Sean. He saw the whole thing happen. It didn't happen like he's saying it happened at all.
Sean
Well,
wasn't even out.
Listen to me. Sit there. I don't want to get him involved, sir. Your son was acting like an idiot. Your son was acting like a fool.
I agree.
You think that his father should pay for all the damage to your rug?
Yes, I think he should. His father's responsible for Joseph's actions since he's a minor. And he broke into our home, and we had nothing to do with it.
No, he didn't break into your home.
I broke into your home.
Hey,
He came through our front door when it was closed and came in and poured bleach all over my son and the carpet of my home.
who started it?
Well, that's two different stories, Your
No,
Honor.
no, he told me the story. Your son told me the story, Mr. Smith. I assume you believed your son was responsible enough to have possession of a snake. Not a little teeny garter snake, but a boa that's about so big. Then if you are not a snake lover, you a snake lover, Bird?
Not really, Judge.
You wouldn't like it if somebody fooling around came over to you and tried to put the boa around your shoulders or on you,
No.
which is what he did.
Your Honor, I wanted to say something that this matter, I thought maybe could have been resolved between me and the neighbor. When I came home that afternoon, I had left, and the neighbor told me that she had called the police that Joseph had spilled some bleach on the carpet and that Brian had threw water on Joseph. And she said the reason she called the police was that she didn't know what time I was getting home.
Why did you call the police? Who called the police?
I did.
Why?
When I got home from the doctor.
Why?
Because someone had came through my front door unannounced, uninvited, into my home, invaded my home, and dumped bleach all over my carpet.
Mr. Smith, didn't your son tell you that he and his friend were out there and they were fooling around and it got out of hand?
Yes.
Just a
Yes,
second.
ma'am.
Just a second. So why would you call the police?
I just told you that, Your Honor. I told you why.
The incident was precipitated by a dumb thing that your son did. This was not a burglary in the middle of the night, sir. They had been friends, and he's a neighbor of yours. I don't understand why
It
you
was an
called the
invasion
police.
of my privacy. That's my home.
All
You
right.
know,
Mr.
I would-
Smith, you're not willing to accept any responsibility for what your son did. How old are you?
16.
Let me see the bill for the carpet.
Your Honor, I was going to say that I thought maybe we could resolve it between as neighbors, but when they decided to press charges against my son for vandalism and assault.
Okay. The entire bill for this looks like $1,720. Is that right?
Plus 120 for my son's clothes that were completely destroyed by the bleach.
I don't care about your son's clothes. Your son started this whole problem.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
This act of lunacy was started by you and finished by you, right?
Right.
So each of you have to pay half. That sounds fair to me.
$860, Judge.
You're way ahead of me, Bird. So, Mr. Smith, if you want to be fully compensated, then get your son to get a job and give you $860. And from these folks, I suggest you don't pay this for him. Let him pay for it. You know, let him do something to pay for it. Teach them all a good lesson. Right?
Right.
You feel any responsibility towards what happened?
Yeah, I feel responsible for what I did.
Good. What about you?
Yes, ma'am.
Good! Only problem is your father. He doesn't see it yet, but maybe he will. $860, which is 1/2 of the cost of the carpet. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
If they're messing around out front like kids will do, you know, I understand all that. Joseph come into my home and, caused a lot of damage inside of my home. I did contact and speak with Joseph's father. He said that he didn't want to, he wasn't responsible, he wasn't
2
paying
weeks
any.
after the district attorney could the charges. That's when I spoke with him. We could have resolved the matter, but he was adamant about having my son arrested.
Your son's the one that came into my home. You should have came over. You knew what he did.
"44-year-old Joseph Strews is suing 29-year-old Robin Scherzer, a woman he met while she was performing as an exotic dancer. Joseph claims he loaned Robin money to purchase a car and expected to be paid back. Robin says the car was a gift and she owes Joseph nothing.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 181 in the matter of Strews versus Scherzer. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am.
Sir, you allege in your complaint that you made a loan to the defendant of $1,600 for the purpose of buying a used car.
Yes, Your Honor.
She says it was a gift.
She's
So
wrong,
why
Your
don't you tell me what prompted you to lend this young woman $1,600 to buy a car?
Well, Your Honor, I met the defendant in June. I think you've read the statement, and I have a little problem with wanting to help girls out, and I admit that, but she had her car repossessed by her mother earlier, and she wanted to get out of the job that she was doing at the time that I met her, so she needed an automobile to gain employment as a personal assistant. So at the time, I had enough money, and we were becoming friends and casually dating. So I offered to loan her the $1,600.
What did you say? Tell me exactly what you said and what she said.
I told her that I had the money and that I would help her with the purchase of the car. She told me that she insisted that she would pay me in October for whatever the loan for the car was. And I discussed the price with her. I said, what can you afford? Anywhere from $1,000, $2,000. We were looking at cars. And like I said, we found a car through a friend of mine that is an automobile broker, and she was pleased with the car that we had found. And
what kind of car was it?
It was a 1987 Audi 4000, Your Honor.
Okay, so you both went and saw the car together.
Yes, we did. We looked at 2 cars previous to that, and Robin was not happy with those cars, so I asked my friend to...
this is the friend?
This is the friend, Miss Moore. And I asked her to keep looking for a car that would be suitable for Robin, and when we found a car, we went test drove it, and Robin said that it'd be a suitable car for her.
So you paid for it?
Yes, I did. I have a bill of sale right here, Your Honor. I have a check receipt here. I've got everything right here.
I'd like to see your file.
Okay.
So then what happened?
Can I add something else,
Sure.
Your Honor? Okay, I am just asking for the $1,600. I'm not asking for this for the money. I'm asking it for the purpose of that this woman, I went out of my way to help her. I didn't expect anything in return from her. But after I had purchased the car, she disappeared. For 7 days, I had it set up that she could have insurance through the insurance man that insures my car. Miss Moore was going to get her to register the car. She was gone for 7 days. I asked her, I said, Robin, you need to take care of these things. She said, well, I want to get a car stereo. I said, listen, young lady, in order for you to operate a motor vehicle, you've got to take care of these things. I'd already had it set up. She got really mad at me. She said she wouldn't talk to me. I said, fine. I said, just take care of the stuff. When I spoke to her again, I said, have you taken care of it? She said, no. She said, you're being mean to me, and I don't want to speak to you anymore. I said, that's fine. I just need you to take care of this stuff. She never registered the car, and as far as I know right now, I don't know what she's doing with it.
Okay. Ms. Scherzer?
I also,
Yes, Your Honor.
I understand.
Your Honor, can I also tell you that, in here I have other checks that I wrote for a sofa that I purchased for her that I didn't expect anything. Also her rent that I didn't expect anything. And, it's like, one more time, it's like my friends have told me not to do this. I'm attracted to women who work in the...
This, Mr. Strews?
Yes.
say she owes you $1,600. Can I hear why she thinks that this was a gift?
Yes, I would love to hear that, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I told him not to buy me a car because I knew that there would be something else expected, something more.
You mean something physical?
Yes. And, I mean, as far as the sofa, I didn't even know he was going to go pay for that. The furniture store called me and said, your couch has been paid for. We'd like to deliver it. Can you call us and let us know when? I don't feel that I owe him any money at all. I told him that I was seeing someone. I told him that
Your
he
Honor.
could not expect anything from me, nothing. And he said that was fine. He understood. If anything, he would just like to maybe be able to spend some time with me.
Where's the car?
The car is at my house.
Where's the sofa?
At my house.
Miss Scherzer.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Not while I'm getting ready to talk, sir.
Excuse me.
If you think that I believe that you're a nice young woman, you're mistaken. You're a taker. Because if what you just said to me is true, that you didn't want to accept any gifts from him because you knew that there were strings attached. Are you chewing gum?
Yes, ma'am.
Get it out of your mouth.
Okay. Your Honor?
I'm not finished.
Okay.
If somebody like this gentleman has a problem because he is generous to a fault with young women and he expects something in return, then a nice young woman
Strippers.
would say, I'm not speaking to you.
I'm sorry.
Then a nice young woman who cared about doing the right thing would have said to the furniture store, please, I don't have the money for the sofa. Return the money to the person who paid it, and when I can afford to pick up the sofa, I will pick it up. And a nice woman would have said, not only did I tell you I don't want your help with a car, but I'm not accepting a car from you because I don't want any strings attached. You, on the other hand, madam, accepted all these things.
Yes, I did.
That's
funny
that's amoral, madam. It's cheapening yourself. It's cheapening yourself. If you knew in your head that he expected something from you in exchange for these gifts, and you were not prepared to give it to him, right?
Correct.
Then you're a tease. Did you ever hear that expression?
Did you ever?
Madam, did you ever hear that expression?
Your Honor,
Yeah.
he would stand at my door and like force me to kiss him goodbye. I never told him that there was anything that he could expect from me at all.
Miss Scherzer?
Ever.
Miss Scherzer, are you not following what I'm saying to you, madam? I mean, are you really that thick?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Obviously, she's very angry. She thinks that I'm like a desperate man, but, you know, I've got two women with me right here, you know? It's like, how desperate could I be?
And later today,
I didn't see a naked woman. If I did, I'd sure as hell remember it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Robin Scherzer says when Joseph Strews bought her a car, he called it a gift. But now that their friendship is over, he wants to be compensated.
When you tease someone, that means you hold a carrot in front of them like this. Okay? And you say, maybe you can have it, maybe you can't.
No.
Now,
There
if
was
you are not,
never-
however, put
Your
your
Honor.
hand down.
I'm
Don't you know
sorry.
when to shut up? If, however,
Sorry.
you are an honest person, you say, I want nothing to do with you, sir. I want you to take your gifts. I want you to take your money. I want you to take your sofas and your rent money and your cars and everything else. I want you to leave me alone. And if you don't leave me alone, because I'm not interested in you, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to get a restraining order so that you don't come to my door anymore. You, on the other hand, were dishonest with him. I find that to be absolutely immoral. You got it?
Yes.
Good. Judgment in this case is for
Your
the
Honor?
plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. That's all.
Thank
Parties
you,
are
Your
excused.
Honor.
You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Don't get mad, sweetheart.
No,
I'm not mad at you.
I'm not mad at all.
You're very mad.
No.
You're lying about me
No,
up there.
I think you're a joke.
You're calling me,
actually.
you're calling me a desperate man. Do I look like a desperate man? I don't have any problem with women. I met her through an agency that she strips. She did. And
No.
I don't blame her. I don't think there's anything wrong with girls
Why
that
were you
strip.
calling that agency?
It's like,
do you have to call
we won't
people?
go into,
Do you have to call people to get them to come to your house to do that?
honey, you're
Is
not,
that how
you're not-
desperate you are?
You're not bothering me by this. It's an expensive lesson, but I still date strippers.
And now the next case.
Party's on Miguel versus Parker. Step forward, please.
Rosalinda San Miguel is suing her exterminator, Brandon Parker, because she claims he entered her apartment without knocking and saw her in the nude. She's suing for mental anguish.
All right. You were in the shower.
I was getting ready to take a shower.
And heard a knocking on your door?
Yes.
What did you do?
I went to my son's bedroom to look through the window to see who it was.
And who was it?
It was a pest control man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pest control.
Yes.
An exterminator.
Right.
Correct.
Of bugs.
Excuse me?
Of bugs.
Bugs, anything?
Anything. And so what did you do?
When I seen that it was him, I ignored it because I hadn't ordered no services for that day. So as I proceeded to go down the hallway to go back into the bathroom, I saw like a light in my living room. And when I went in there, he was in my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time when I went in there, I was naked.
When and where?
Into the living room because I had removed all my clothing already when I was getting ready for my shower.
So you're suing him for all kinds of pain, suffering, and distress because he let himself into your apartment and saw you naked. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Mr. Parker.
Yes, ma'am. I was going to this apartment complex for my first time. We had just gotten the account, and they gave me a sheet of paper of a list of apartments to do. And they told me to pick 5 apartments out of this, about 20 apartments on there to do, so I went about doing that.
How did you get into these 5 apartments? So you picked 5 apartments?
Right.
How did you get into these 5 apartments?
The management sent a maintenance person with me, plus they gave me a key. Halfway through doing these apartments, the maintenance person left. So I chose her apartment was one of the last ones I was to do, and I went to her door, I knocked, and I knocked, and I knocked, and no one would answer the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I assumed the apartment was empty, and I was to go in there, do my business, and get out and get gone. So I unlocked the door, opened the door, said pest control. I yelled it 3 times, and then about after the 3rd time, she came through the hallway. She was not naked.
She was?
She was not naked.
What was she wearing?
She had a long t-shirt on and what appeared to be shorts. And as I was trying to understand her, what she was trying to say to me, she was pushing me out the door. I was trying to explain to her what I was to do, and it came out to be that I had mistaken her apartment for another one that was in the same area.
Let me understand this. Was her apartment number on this list that you got?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
I also have a copy of the work order log. I had order for services 6/20/97, and it specifically says spiders outside only.
Miss Miguel, the problem is, when I read your complaint and I read his answer, it appears to me that this gentleman was told that your apartment was one of those apartments that was to be serviced that day. Do you understand?
Yes.
So my question is, if that is true, then you are suing the wrong person. You should be suing your management company, the people who told him to go into your apartment. What are you suing him for?
Correct.
He was following instructions.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I just felt I was very violated. I really was. I can understand a mistake, like I've said, but when you're asked to leave, you are to leave.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosalinda San Miguel is suing her exterminator, Brandon Parker, because she claims he entered her apartment without knocking and saw her in the nude. She's suing for mental anguish.
On this work order log, Your Honor, it states the date of services that were supposed to be done that day.
You mean this is the work order log that he had?
This is the work order log that my management had.
Not that your management. I want to see the one that he had.
It's
so
the same
I
one.
will. What?
It's
the
the
same
same
thing?
one, Your Honor.
Let me see.
The one highlighted is my apartment, Your Honor.
Okay. President. Sir, I'd like you to look at this. This is what your employer submitted. I'd
Right.
like you to take a look at that piece of paper, please. And I have a copy of it. Does it not indicate that her apartment was only to be serviced outside?
Yes, that's what I'm saying is on the line above it, it says roaches. Whenever I went to do that, I was a busy day, and I had misread the line above it from what I was spraying for.
No,
to
you
go
didn't
into
tell me
her.
that before, sir.
Well, I should have. I'm sorry.
No, you didn't tell me that before. Before, you told me that you had received a list, you went into the list, and it turned
Yeah,
out to be...
this is what I was received.
So you went into the wrong apartment.
Right.
You, the management company didn't tell you to go into that apartment. You went into the wrong apartment.
They told me to pick 5 apartments from this whole sheet.
Right, but
They
her
didn't.
apartment says spiders outside.
Right.
So what'd you go inside for?
Because I misread the line above
Because you
it.
made a...
Mistake.
Okay. That's simple.
Right.
Now, you made a mistake. So you're not suing his boss, who clearly has deep pockets, much deeper pockets, because you could have. You understand that.
Yes.
That was your mistake. He made a mistake. Now, is this a $5,000 mistake? Because that's what you're suing for? You're going to have to explain to me why this was a $5,000 mistake, Miss Miguel, because I can see an apology and some sort of minimal compensation, but quite frankly, I don't see where this mistake, and it was clearly an honest mistake, is worth anywhere near $5,000.
Your Honor, we're all human. I know we all make mistakes. And I mean, my heart's not that cold, you know, to say, okay, you made a mistake. But when he went in, and I told him, what are you doing in here? He told me that he had a work order, you know, to spray for roaches. I go, I don't have roaches. You need to leave. He told me, no, you signed a waiver with your manager that I can come in here. And I told him, I never did no such thing. I asked him to leave about 3 or 4 times, Your Honor, and he would not leave. I had to take the master keys myself from the lock, and I threw them and I shoved them out my door. And I told him, I will meet you in my manager's office, because he refused to leave my home. I told him, I live here, and I'm telling you to leave, and he wouldn't leave.
Well, you understand, Miss Miguel, that he honestly believed that he had a work order to do your apartment. You understand that? I mean, he wasn't making that up. He honestly believed that he had a work order. He misread a line. How many times did she ask you to leave, sir?
As far as I remember, I heard maybe once or twice.
Well, why didn't you leave right away?
Because I was trying to understand what she was wanting me to do.
She wanted you to leave.
Yes, I understand that, but she was speaking so fast, I was having trouble understanding her.
How long have you been working for this exterminating company, sir?
Approximately 5 to 6 months.
How much do you earn a day?
About $50 a day.
You have family?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of family do you have?
I have a wife and a young child.
How old's your child?
He's going to be a year in September.
How much money do you bring home a week?
Approximately $200.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, it is.
Doesn't sound like a lot of money.
It's not.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Now, he makes $50 a day. He. The exterminating company, they make probably a lot more than $50 a day, right?
Yes, we do.
But you didn't sue them. You sued him. I think he made an honest mistake. I think he probably didn't act appropriately right away because he couldn't understand you. You were very upset. Should have left right away when she told you to leave.
I understand that.
You understand that?
Yes.
It's going to cost you 2 days' pay. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $100. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
And on the next Judge Judy.
She was wearing a long T-shirt and it looked like something was under it.
When I ran back into the bathroom, I did put some clothing on.
I didn't see a naked woman. If I did, I'd sure as hell remember it. I tried apologizing there on the spot and she wouldn't listen to me.
That's not true. You never try apologizing.
I think she's only after one thing, and that's money.
Now, Pursue, you're telling me that he's terminated and he's not?
I never said he
You
was
told
gonna
the
put-
police officer. I have it right
I
here.
didn't talk to the police officer,
Oh, no,
ma'am.
but your wife, Sandy, did. She called my
We
home
had a-
and told me he was terminated.
We had to
and he
listen to
was not
Brandon's
terminated.
serpent. We had to
But
see what
that's
Brandon
okay.
has to say.
That's okay.
If she wants to do a polygraph test, hey, let's go.
35-year-old housewife Cynthia Bettis is suing 35-year-old Mike Stipke, claiming he broke a table when he fell over in a drunken stupor at her daughter's birthday party. Mr. Stipke is countersuing for his medical bills.
Order, all rise. Your Honor, this is case number 269 on the calendar in the matter of Bettis versus Stipke. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, please. Have a seat.
You had a birthday party at your house for your daughter Nicole
And Christina.
and Christina.
We also celebrated 2 other children's birthday at that time.
And according to this complaint, one of the other children who was celebrating a birthday was the daughter of a friend of yours
Yes.
who brought this gentleman to the party.
Yes.
So you came, sir, as an invited guest
Yes, ma'am.
of this lady?
Yes.
Let's see how smart I am. Your claim is that while he was at the party, he was drunk?
Yes.
And he destroyed some furniture?
Yes.
Were you drunk?
No, ma'am. I had 3 or 4 beers at the most. They had other people drinking. Her sister and her husband were also drinking the beer.
Who cares about his sister and her brother? They didn't break furniture.
No, they did not.
Well, why'd you go to the birthday party and drink?
Nah, I just had a few beers.
Uh-huh. Why don't you tell me, sir, how it came about that you broke this furniture? Describe what happened to me, if you remember.
Diane had threw a piece of ice up to me.
Just a second. Diane, that's you.
Right.
Stand up there, Diane, because I found that interesting. So she threw what
A
at you?
piece of ice up in the air.
Ice.
Ice.
Where were you standing at this time?
On the patio.
On the patio.
Describe how you threw a piece of ice. How far were you standing apart?
3 feet.
Well, move over another foot.
I felt like this.
About that far?
And
you, what were you doing? Your hands weren't behind your back, sir. What
No.
were you doing? You're holding a beer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Make like you're holding a beer, right? All right.
And a cigarette.
And you're, what?
And a cigarette in the other hand.
Cigarette in the other hand?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Make like a cigarette in the other hand. Now, Diane, show me what you were doing.
I just tossed a piece of ice up.
An ice cube?
Yes. It was out of the ice chest. Actually, it was out of my cup, but Mike lifted his head up and he stepped
No, just
back.
you're going to show me. Toss the ice. Go ahead. Toss it. Go.
And when I went back, I hit the end of the table and went down and then busted my head open on a toy chest.
Just a second. I'm not interested with your head. I'm interested in the table. Right? You broke the table.
The end piece, yeah.
The end piece of the table.
Right.
Because you were acting like a fool at a children's birthday party. He had 3 or 4 beers. She's throwing ice cubes at you, and you're catching them in your mouth, right? And I say this to you, sir, because to add insult to injury, you filed a countersuit in this case. You're suing her because you fell and broke your head and split your head open. What does that have to do with her? What does that have to do with her?
That was her house, and I was on her property, and I went through pain and suffering through the deal.
So whose fault was that?
It was my fault.
So what are you suing her for?
For the pain and suffering I went through.
Why is your pain and suffering her problem? If you get listen to me, sir. If you get out of bed in the middle of the night, right, to go to the bathroom, and you stub your toe on a chair, and you break your toe, do you sue the chair manufacturer? Huh?
No.
No. Now, the table didn't have 3 or 4 beers and move. Right?
No.
So I'm really trying to understand what was in your mind when you filed this countersuit. Her lawsuit, I understand.
Okay.
Okay. That was easy.
Okay.
That was easy. Okay. Is that pretty much what happened?
In general, yes. We offered to call 911 or take him to the hospital. He refused.
You were
No,
being...
no, that is not true.
Doesn't make any difference. I want to know about the table.
Okay. Basically, the table was broke on one side, and he broke a chair.
So did you have it fixed? Were you able to repair it?
We tried to get it fixed. They were not able to fix the table and the
How
chair.
did he break a chair?
He was sitting in it, and when he leant over to get a beer off the table, he broke the chair.
He broke the... Well, that happened before the table.
Right.
You remember that?
No, there was no chair broken, no.
You don't remember a broken chair?
No.
There was not a chair broken.
How was it broken? You have a picture of it?
Yes, we do. It's basically just a little metal hinge that fits into the grooves of the side of the chair. It's a folding chair, little wooden folding chair. And
so did you fix the folding chair?
No, there's nowhere to fix the metal piece.
Did the party continue on after this happened with his fall?
Once they left, the party did end, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
He fell backwards, and I came watching over there, and Mommy's friend and Diane, they tried to doctor him, but they rushed him to the hospital.
Thank you. Did you have a good time at your birthday party? You didn't. Why not? Why not?
It's okay.
You can tell me. Tell me your name.
Tina, fix it, Tina. You offered to fix it, Tina.
No, she's all right. She's all right. I won't ask her any more questions.
Thank you.
Evidently, she didn't have such a good time at the birthday party.
No. She does not want me to throw any more parties for her again because of what happened.
Why?
Because basically she seen him walking around drunk and fall down and shed blood all over at her birthday party.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was told they were going to pay $50 each Sunday. I did not get any money, so I took matters into my own hands.
And later today,
I certainly wouldn't make damage in broad daylight with a neighbor walking outside in the street.
The police were there, and he fled.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 35-year-old Cynthia Bettis says Mike Stipke ruined her daughter's birthday party when he got drunk and broke a table. Mike says it was all an accident and is countersuing for medical bills.
How much was the table worth?
About $200.
Okay.
I have a letter from the lady who owns the table.
You borrowed the table from somebody else?
My in-laws did. They borrowed the table for the party.
Okay, well, it has to be replaced. And you have to pay for it. Don't be foolish.
I did offer to pay for it.
So then what are we doing here?
I asked for the money to be delivered, $50 every Sunday, and they agreed upon it, and it never came through.
I offered to write her a check in the whole full amount and have Mike pay me back because I live 3 blocks from him.
So? I never got that offer.
She says, I'm going away for the weekend. I'll call you when I get back. We'll make arrangements to happen. She didn't call.
Why don't you just drop off the check?
Why
don't
should
you
I
just
go
send
over
her the
there?
check?
She made it clear she didn't want me over there.
Why don't you just send the check in the mail? Say, I'm sorry this happened. Sorry
I
for
am
the
sorry
birthday
it happened,
party.
and I made that quite clear to her.
All right. Well, it's a very unfortunate circumstance. Sir, you understand that you owe $200. That's for the table. I mean, little girls who had a birthday party, one of them had a good time. The older one didn't. She probably understands a little bit more about what was going on. Certainly, you know that your countersuit has absolutely no merit. If you act like a fool, sometimes you get hurt. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $200.
Do I get the table?
Do you get the table?
Yes.
No, you get the judgment.
Okay.
Parties are excused. Step out.
Thank you. What a jerk.
Back door to your right, please.
It was an accident and it happened. I'm sorry that I broke your table.
Thank you. I'd like you to apologize to the kids that you ruined their party.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And now the next case.
Parties on O'Prey versus Engler. Step forward, please.
ATM saleswoman Marlene O'Prey is suing her business associate Roger Engler, charging he vandalized her car. Roger says she's retaliating against him over a business deal gone bad.
All right, Miss O'Prey, you claim that the defendant vandalized your car.
Yes.
By keying it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why would he do such a thing?
As retaliatory for not working with me any longer.
Well, tell me about that.
We just had a court case in San Francisco about 2.5 weeks ago to where he tried to say I owed him a sum of money for the month of June.
He was an employee of yours?
No, he was a self-contractor only if he were to sell ATM machines.
Okay, so he was an independent contractor.
Yes, Your Honor.
So he sued you last month.
And he lost because he didn't produce, he didn't make one sale.
Whatever, he lost.
That's right.
When was the car vandalized?
August 25th.
And when was the court case?
October 7th.
So the car was vandalized before the court case?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did you report it vandalized?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Where was it vandalized? Tell me about it.
It was in my carport. My daughter saw him do it, and this is Linda, my daughter. Hi. And the police came immediately after he had done this, and he fled. If he hadn't done it, why would he flee from the police?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have to tell you what he said in our last court case on October 7th when I told him I had 2 witnesses.
2 weeks ago.
And he says, nobody saw me do it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. ATM saleswoman Marlene Opray says her former business associate Roger Engler keyed her car, causing severe damage. Roger denies he did anything wrong.
You say, your mother says at least, that you actually observed him.
Yes, I did.
Well, tell me what you saw.
Your Honor, he came to the house around 8:30 or 9 in the morning. I answered the door, and this gentleman was at my mom's door. He asked if Marlene Opray was there. I asked who he was. He did not want to leave a name with me. I seen he had a white envelope in his hand. I said I was her daughter. I would be more glad to give it to her, and he refused to give it to me. So I shut the door. I went in, I told my mom, she was in the shower at the time. My mom asked him to come back in 30 minutes, asked what he looked like, and this and that. I described him. She couldn't place him. So I went back and I told this gentleman. He wasn't too happy about it. He said he had come a long distance to give this to my mother. And I says, well, like I said, if you want to come back in 30 minutes. I shut my door. I went into my room. Not even 2 minutes later, I heard a screechy noise outside. It's right outside my bedroom window. There's a carport. My car was parked there as well as my mother's. I didn't have any clothes on because I answered the door. I was in my pajamas. I opened it up halfway. I went to go put my pants on to run out there to see what he was doing. He was kneeling down on the other side of my mom's car on the right rear tire. So I got my pants on. I ran out there. At that time, this gentleman was pulling away. I ran out after him. He kept going. He did see me. I saw him look in his rearview mirror. There was another gentleman walking in the park there where we live. He said this gentleman had parked there for a while there.
You can't tell me what the other gentleman said. So you actually saw him kneeling against your mother's car?
Yes, I did.
You did not actually see him scratch your mother's car?
I seen him kneeling there. I heard a noise.
You heard a noise,
Yes.
and you saw him kneeling near the car?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Had you parked the car there the evening before?
Yes, I did.
And when you parked the car there, can you describe its condition to me?
It was good. I mean,
What
I'd
kind of a
been
car is it?
driving all day. I had not been out of the car. I'd been on a long trip. And I'd parked there about 11:30 at night. And, Your Honor, we have security at the park, so nobody came in.
Do you have pictures of the car?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Ringler, I'll hear you, sir.
Okay. It's a nice story. Mostly none of it is true, but that's a nice story. Number one, we were partners. I had letters that showed that we were business partners. We had gone on a number of trips together. We were supposed to share income and so on.
I'm not interested in the other lawsuit, sir.
No, I
you
understand.
lost the other lawsuit.
I'm just giving background. She owed me money. She kept on promising she was going to pay money. And then all of a sudden she was disappearing and she wasn't returning calls. And she wasn't returning calls. We had been in for 3 months on the phone every single day, once, twice, sometimes 3 times a day. Many times.
I'm not interested in that. You went to her house at 8:30 in the morning.
No,
for
I did.
what
First
purpose?
of all, it was 9:30 in the morning.
9:30.
Okay, there was.
For what purpose?
For what purpose? I went to give her a letter in her hand saying I've dissolved the partnership between us. And that's what I went to deliver. Her daughter came to the door. She was dressed. The door was open. She said, who are you? And I said, I just came here to give your mother a piece of paper. She said, let me go back and find out. She came back and she said, my mother's in the shower. Can you come back in 30 minutes? There was a gentleman walking in the street that we exchanged pleasantries. That was the extent of it.
Can I see the police report, please?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as I can see, is simply retaliation. It's whatever she can do. Nothing to do with me.
I see the police were called, sir, on that day, on the 25th of August. So it's clearly not retaliatory because you evidently did not proceed in court until October. Your judgment wasn't until October, the judgment dismissing your suit. She made this complaint the very day of the incident.
Okay. First of all, her car has had many damages on it that she's never repaired. I can't testify as to what scratches and things she had on that car or why she did what she did.
This is a key mark, sir.
Okay, but it could have been there.
This is a key mark.
It was not there.
Here.
Okay.
Show him.
It was not there.
Okay, it's a key mark. You know, but that doesn't mean that I had anything to do with it. It could have been there. I could tell you that she had damages on her car that she's never repaired, and she's using it as an excuse. You know, if it was vandalism, as she claims, then in fact, from what I understand, it's a criminal act. Why didn't the police come, call me, do whatever they want, arrest me? There's no logic.
Your Honor.
Let's see. Just a second. You were given information on how to get a temporary restraining order against him. Did you do that?
No, I didn't because I left on a long cruise. And like the police department said, if you're gone, I went all the way up to Alaska and Canada. There was no sense in getting a restraining order. I was going to be gone.
For how long?
I was gone for 12 days.
Mm-hmm.
The cruise was before I even went there. The reason I know that is because one of her customers I had spoken to her and called me. The cruise was before.
What kind of business are you in, sir?
I'm in the ATM business. I sell ATM cash dispensers, credit card processing, and so on. I was never an employee of hers. I was never a contract laborer of hers. I had my own company. She approached me to be a partner with her and hers.
I just asked you, shh. Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. When?
About 2 years ago.
For what?
It was considered insurance fraud at the time. Mm-hmm. Although it was my own property. It was my own property that was stolen, and it was a nonsense thing, but that's how it was.
And you were convicted?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Is that your first arrest, sir?
No.
When's the arrest just prior to that?
That was a case that was dropped on an advertising program that was eventually dropped.
Mm-hmm. How long was your probation on the insurance fraud?
2 years.
When is your probation up?
Oh, it was up before I came to California.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
This is not a criminal case. Criminal case, the burden of proof is proof by beyond a reasonable doubt that an act was committed. The quantum of proof in a civil case, and this is a civil case, is more evidence than not, what we call a preponderance of the credible evidence that an event occurred. So I must make a determination based upon common sense and based upon what I've heard, whether I am satisfied by a preponderance of the credible evidence, that is more evidence than not, that you did in fact key her car. I'm satisfied. So you have the estimates for the damage?
Yes, and it's already been taken care of.
$1,241.25 is what you paid to have the car repainted on both sides. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,241. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You know, she never contacted me. She never notified me. The police never were involved. Nothing ever happened.
I have to tell you what he said in our last court case on October 7th when I told him I had 2 witnesses.
2 weeks ago.
And he says, nobody saw me do it.
Myra Peraza says she and her former best friend, Tina Peraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle, but Tina refuses to share it. Tina claims it was her ticket that won the Jeep, making her the sole winner.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Peraza versus Peraza. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am. Ma'am.
You two gals are real good friends. You went to some sort of an event, which you're going to tell me about. One of the things that happened at that event was that there was a door prize of a brand new Jeep automobile. Right?
Correct. Yes.
She won, you think that you should get half. Right?
No. Not exactly.
Well,
I think we both won.
You think you both won, and she claimed the prize.
Yeah, she ended up going behind the back and claiming the prize.
All right, let's start from the beginning. What kind of an event was this?
It was just an event from a radio station and Taco Bell. It was just a concert.
Slowly.
It was just a concert. It was just a concert where these rappers are going to be there or something like that.
You, according to your complaint, got the concert tickets and asked her if she wanted to go.
No. She got the concert tickets.
She got the tickets?
Yeah, and she asked me if I wanted to go.
Okay.
And I agreed, and we went, and at the door, they asked us if we wanted to gamble, and we said yes, and they gave us $500 fake dollars each.
Did you have to pay for that?
No. No, they just asked us at the front, if you wanted to gamble, you got $500. If you didn't, well, you didn't gamble.
So it was like Monopoly money?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And after that, she asked me, I mean, I was there with her the whole time, but then she asked me if she could gamble my money, and I said, sure, go ahead, you know, and she's like...
You weren't gambling?
No, I was just standing right there, just helping her out. That was about it. She gambled, she got all my money, she gambled it away, and we ended up getting chips for, just chips, regular chips of what you gamble with, in return when you were gambling. So we had to trade those in for tickets. And after that, some guys just came up to us and told us that, oh, they were leaving, they were in a rush, so they came over and they gave us their tickets. They said, here, girls, good luck, and if you guys win, give us a call.
So now you had these whole bunch of tickets, and you threw them in a pot.
We just, yeah.
Who held on to the stubs?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was, she had it in my backpack, so she put it in the backpack. We had a backpack, it was only one, so she put them in there.
And you had a whole bunch of them. How many did you have?
There was probably 50 or probably more. I wouldn't know. We didn't count them. And we just threw them inside the backpack, and it was time for them to call out the tickets. The time came, so we went down there, and they started calling out tickets. We won other prizes. Prior to that, we won something else, and it was time to call out.
What else did you win?
We won a jacket and a backpack. And
what'd you do with that?
One of us kept the backpack, and the other one kept the jacket.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I guess the time came to win the thing, and we just got the tickets, and she's like, here, you take half, because there was so many of them. We just split them up. She said, you take half, I'll take the other half. And
to look at the numbers as they were calling the numbers.
Yeah, so then after that, they called the number. That was about it. They called
And you had the ticket. You were holding that ticket.
Yeah, she was holding the ticket.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. I'll ask you this question. There came a time when you did split up these tickets, right? She held half, and you held half. Tell me about that moment.
As I recall, we just split them up.
Not we split them up. They're in your hands.
Okay, I split them up evenly.
Split them up evenly?
Yes, I just gave her half, and, you know, we both looked at them.
Okay. Am I correct that your reason that was done was because it's too difficult to look at all the numbers as they're calling out the numbers, like in a bingo or something, you know, so that each one of you was looking through half?
Correct.
Right? And your ticket won?
Yeah, they were my tickets. They were all my tickets.
Now, why do you think they were all your tickets?
Because she had given me her $500. I did not ask her if I can play with her $500. She gave them to me. She gave the $500 to me.
How did that come about?
She said, here, take my money. You can gamble with it.
Is that what you said?
No.
No, that's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
No.
No, we were gambling. She ended up, she was like down to her last $50, and she just said, can I, oh, let me have your money. And she said, if we would win the Jeep, we would split it up.
I had said that from the guys' tickets. I had the guys' tickets in one hand, and I had my tickets in the other hand, the ones that I had won.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. All the tickets were together in your backpack at one point. Oh, I
Yes,
think that
at
they probably
one point-
were.
at
All
one
the
point we put
tickets
them
were
all
together
together.
in your backpack.
At one point, I had put them all together, yes.
So at that point, they were all mixed together.
Yes.
Yours and the guys.
Yes.
Right. So there really is no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or the guy's ticket that won.
Exactly.
Well, now at least we got that straight. So it's not in one hand and then the other hand.
But I had told her, out of their tickets that they gave us, actually they gave me the tickets, and I told her out of those tickets, if we win it, we'll split it because we were friends.
You couldn't tell whether it was their ticket that won.
No, we could not.
You just assumed it was comfortable for you to say it wasn't one of their tickets that won, it was my ticket that won.
I did not say that.
You had no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or one of the guys' tickets that won.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Am I dealing? Hello?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You speak to this pain in the neck, and a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep.
And later today,
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls. And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Myra Barraza is suing her former best friend Tina Barraza after they won a new Jeep in a raffle.
I see that you have a tape there. Can you tell me what that tape is of?
This is just the day of the event. Recorded us where we both claimed the prize. We both did go up there and claim the prize. And
For the
said,
Jeep?
Yes.
I want to see it.
Here we go. 607-487. All right, girl. Who won the Jeep?
Well, that certainly looks as if, at least at that moment, there was a mutuality that each of you won that prize. So what happened?
I was willing to split with her.
So?
And that's what we were going to do until about a month later. She had called me up, and she had said that she wanted to give it to me. She said, go ahead and have it, in other words.
Where was it?
I hadn't got it yet.
Did you do that?
No, I called her up. There was all this stuff was going on with the Jeep. We didn't know what we were going to do. It was a big old thing about it. We didn't know how we were going to split it up, who was going to pay for tax and license and everything. And we were going to get the confirmation letter. And I called her up and I told her, yes, you could stay with the Jeep. But she had said if she stood with the Jeep, she was going to give me an $8,000 loan. That's how much the car was worth, $16,000.
I did not state that.
And I told her, okay. She said she was going to tell her dad, sell her other car that she had just bought, sell it back, and instead of paying $15,000, she'll just tell her dad to get an $8,000 loan and pay me for it. And I said, okay. We agreed. I never thought anything. I just said, okay. We didn't. It was just a verbal thing. But I did tell her, okay, you could keep the Jeep and
that sounds reasonable because you can't split up the Jeep.
Yeah, and I just said, okay. And I said, you could pay my $8,000 or else we're just going to sell the Jeep and we're both going to get our half.
No, she did not say that on the phone. She told me that she wanted me to keep the Jeep. That's what she told me.
What? Of course, that's what she said to you.
Yeah, but she did not specify that she wanted me to give her $8,000.
Well, why would she make you a gift of $8,000? If the Jeep is worth $16,000, why in the world do you think, madam, that she would make you a gift of $8,000, which is half of the Jeep. Why?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, let's go slowly. What word didn't you understand? Why do you think? Why do you think that she would make you a present of $8,000?
She did not say anything about $8,000. I did not hear anything about $8,000 on that telephone call. At that time, I was like happy. I was happy that she given it to me, and I figured that
What
the
are
reason
you doing
why
standing up here?
I want to step in for the spot where she called her. She told me through everything that happened. She called me every time they had a conversation. She was asking me, what should I do? What should I do? What do I do about the Jeep? Do I split it in half? Should I sell it? What? I told her, you know what? You won the tickets to that concert. It's your Jeep. You were holding the ticket at the time she won it.
Oh, you're the troublemaker. Sit down. Sit down.
As I was saying, I figured the reason why she said that on the telephone is because she knew that she did not have any part in the ticket winning.
Oh, please, madam. I want to tell you something. I think that your conduct was really outrageous to bring it to this point. First of all, the two of you have been friends. There isn't a question in my mind. What?
9 years.
12 years.
There isn't a question in my mind, after looking at that tape, that at the time that that Jeep was won, the two of you, both of you, I saw her signing papers.
We didn't sign any
Just a
paper.
second.
It was just a back of a flyer. We put down both our names and addresses.
Right. It was the back of a flyer. You both put down your names and addresses as the winners. Right?
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime you speak to this pain in the neck who says to you, I don't think you have to split it with her at all because it was your ticket, it was in your hand. And a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep because there is no logical reason that I can think of, except if you're drinking too much, to think that this lady would call you up and say, I just want to give it to you because you're a very nice person. I care about you.
No.
Please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
That's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude did it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Myra Peraza and her former best friend, Tina Peraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle. But Myra says Tina is refusing to share.
Listen to me. Bottom line is, the maximum jurisdiction in this court is $5,000.
I know.
You understand that?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Now, she claimed this prize. I assume you went and claimed the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct. She told me to do what's right, and that's what I thought was right.
Yeah, she just went off this one day. I spoken to her the weekend before she did this. I spoken to her the whole week when she went off to the radio station and had a cashier's check with her parents. And she did this on Friday. I spoke to her Friday and Saturday. She told me nothing. I told her what's going on. She said nothing. I haven't spoken to them. I haven't heard of anything.
Miss Peraza, your friendship's over.
I know that.
And based upon what I've heard, that's probably the right thing to
Yeah, I
happen
know.
because she's not a very trustworthy person. Now, she claimed the Jeep. She's going to have to pay the taxes on it, but I'm awarding you $5,000, which is the maximum that I can. My grandmother used to say, if you do the right thing happens. If you do the wrong thing, eventually it's going to catch up with you. What you did was pretty sneaky. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Okay, you got your Jeep. She got her money.
Out the back door to your right, please.
Just to reiterate what Judge Judy said, bad things, it all comes back to people or whatever. It's going to come back to her because I did what I thought was right, and in God, I trust that I did what's right, and I think it's going to come back to her what she did because she was wrong, not me. She's lucky for even being there. She's lucky for even being at the event. I don't see that she deserves half. I won the tickets to go to the event, and she was even lucky that I took her.
You got your $5,000 you wanted.
I did.
So now you can shut up.
Yeah, you
Okay.
too.
You had nothing to do with this.
And now the next case.
Parties on Anderson versus Rankin. Step forward, please.
Margaret Anderson is suing her tenant, Tim Rankin, claiming he made phone calls to 900 numbers totaling more than $1,000.
All right, Mr. Rankin. You rented a room from the plaintiff.
That's correct.
And I believe that you will agree, based upon what doesn't seem to be in dispute, that when you moved in, you wanted a telephone in your room.
That's correct, Your Honor.
But because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
She offered to put the phone...
Because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
I owed a past due bill on the Pacific bill.
So the answer to my question is yes. You couldn't get the phone in your name.
Correct.
I knew we'd get there, Bird.
Take your time, George.
So she said, okay.
Yes.
Right? Are you nervous?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
I could tell you were nervous. She said, okay, you put the phone in your room, and within a relatively short period of time, you got a bill.
Yep.
And how much was that bill for?
$1,059.
For a 1 month period?
2 months period.
2 months. And you say I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, Your Honor.
Is the phone in your room?
Yes, it is.
You think she did it?
I doubt
Look at this lady. Look, I just want you to look at her. You think she went into your room and made the calls?
I doubt it.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
That's right.
Now, you want to try to explain to me in 100 words or less why it shouldn't be you?
In 100 words or less, I don't know if I can do it in 100 words or less, but I believe that the other tenant that was living there made those phone calls.
So?
And there's a reason behind why I think he made those phone calls.
I'll hear you.
Okay, well, the former tenant and her had a limousine business. She put up $27,000 for a limousine. Somehow I was drawn into the middle of that. Their business relationship didn't work out from the get-go. They were screaming and yelling every night there. And because I didn't take his side in the limousine business, he started to have an attitude against me. Eventually, I had to throw him in jail for assault on me at the lady's house. The following day, her and I went down and put restraining orders on him. At that point, I believe he went in my room. He wanted me out of that house no matter what. No matter what the cost, so he could work on her by himself. I believe that he went into my room and made a bunch of phone calls, information phone calls. I'm not sure what exactly they were. Psychic, maybe, I don't know what kind of phone calls they were.
Psychic hotline calls? Is that what they were?
900. Sex calls.
Sex calls.
Sex calls. Okay.
Okay. So that's your defense. You know, we used to call that, when I was sitting judge in Manhattan, somebody once told me that that's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude
done it.
Did it. Did you ever hear that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Rankin, let's keep this simple, sir. Somebody's got to pay this bill. The phone is in your room. If the phone had been in your room and been in your name, you would have had to have paid the phone bill. And then if you felt that somebody in an unauthorized fashion used your phone, you would go and sue them, right?
That's correct.
But you don't say to the telephone company, listen, Ma Belle, I didn't make the phone calls from my phone. Somebody else did it. You pay the bill, and then you pursue whatever other remedies you have. You are responsible to safeguard the phone in your room. Not her. She was doing you a favor. Why should she be out $1,059? Is there any reason?
No, there's not a reason
Good.
she should be out.
Judgment in the case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,059.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Everybody's not like Tim. There is nice people out there. I went ballistic. Yeah, I was very, very surprised, shocked, mad, angry, really, really upset.
He had stolen my daughter's clothes before. I also have sex letters where he signed up for sex calls. And I have pictures to prove what kind of person he is.
I was used and abused.
20-year-old student Timothy Brazos says Jimmy Ventura seriously injured him when he hit him with a skateboard during an all-out fight at a party.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please, all rise. Your Honor, this is case number 238 on the calendar in the matter of Brazos versus Ventura. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Mr. Brazos, according to these papers, you claim that the defendant assaulted you by hitting you with a skateboard. You were severely injured. You want him to pay for your medical and dental bills, as well as pain and suffering.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Tell me when this happened.
Friday the 13th, 1996.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Okay, first we were having a party at my house, and he was there.
Who's he?
Jimmy's brother, I believe, that's his brother.
This young man here.
Yes.
Okay.
He was there, and he came and peed on our lawn. Some of the party goers at the party didn't like it, so they confronted him and said, "Why'd you do that?" And I guess there's some push came to shove, and they started fighting, and they chased him off the lawn. And
The
then,
brother.
Yeah. And then he came back shortly later, about 10 minutes later, with Jimmy and about 20 people, and they're all wearing white tank tops and had tattoos and shaved heads. Some were holding pipes and bats, and there was about 10 people left at the house having the party with me, and then all of a sudden, him and his brother rushed the house. Jimmy was one of them. Jimmy grabbed a skateboard, hit me in the head, and I fell to the ground, and he walked away, and I walked to the next house and went and got treatment for my mouth.
Was he arrested?
No, he wasn't.
Well, he was at one point arrested because there's a criminal trial going on.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Later on, I think about 4 or 5 days later, he was arrested.
Did he come to be arrested? Did you identify him?
Yes. I went down to the police station and picked his picture out and a list of people.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. One night, on Friday the 13th, okay, he had a party, he had 2 kegs and 4 bands. My brother was supposed to go out to the party because he was invited by my uncle. And they jumped my brother. A bunch of people jumped him. I wasn't there.
Step up here. You're a gunner?
Yes, sir.
Did you use his lawn as a bathroom? Come on, let's go.
All right, well, I was invited to his birthday party by my uncle. I went out there, my friend took a pee on his lawn, and then they got around him, huddled around him. I went over there to try to settle it. A guy got in my face, and I was about this close to my face. I pushed him, and then I struck with a bat in the head and the side. And then I was basically gang rushed down the street, and that's where I went and caught my breath.
You caught your breath. And when did you call your brother?
I didn't call him.
I never seen him at all that night. He left. Supposedly he got jumped. I was walking through the apartments, and this is how I found about it. My uncle told me that Gunner might have gotten jumped. So I saw Tim, I guess, whatever his name is, with a group of people, like about 40 guys, sit in front of his house laughing on how they beat some guy up. I took off. I was with 2 girls that I was with all night, and I went to their house, and I sat there, and I saw my mom, Elaine. She drove by she was going down the street, and I saw, I'm like, what is she doing out here, 3 o'clock in the morning? But anyways, I came up to the scene, and I saw my mom trying to break up a fight, and some guy cold clocked my mom, like leveled her out. She got a broken nose. She got, fat lip, and I ran in there, and I socked the guy that hit my mom.
Wasn't this young man?
No, it wasn't even him.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that I came into this fight. I hit the guy that hit my mom.
I'm looking at this. You say in your answer, sir, that there was another fight 4 days later.
Yeah, there was.
When he got beat up, and he wants me to pay because the apartments belong to my grandmother and Tim smells money. So according to you, the injuries that he sustained happened 4 days later. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Can I see your medical reports, please?
Sure.
statement that you make here is that he got beat up 4 days later.
Yeah, he got beat up 4 days later.
He got beat up 4 days later, and he wants you to pay for it. It's not true, because the first medical report of injury was the morning of this incident. This incident happened late at night on the 13th.
Yes.
And his first report of injuries was on the 14th, which means that this stuff that you suggest about his being beaten up 4 days later and he just wants you to pay for it because he feels as if your family has money, I want you to put that out of your mind. His injuries were sustained on the 13th. Now, you are Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Step up, please. You're their mother?
Yes, I am.
What do you know about this evening?
This boy has falsely identified because this boy wasn't there but 5 minutes. I don't doubt that Tim didn't get hit by somebody, but it wasn't by this young man right
You
here.
don't know that.
I was there the whole time, Your Honor.
No, you weren't.
He was
Yes,
hit?
I was, Your Honor. I was there
Mrs.
the whole
Schwartz,
time.
you weren't there the whole time.
Yes, I was there the entire time.
Tim said he got
All
hit.
the way until when the officers told us to go home.
I thought you got hit.
I did
She
get
did.
hit.
We sat
And when
and
you,
talked
just
to
a
cops
second,
for 4
when you got
hours.
hit, where were you?
I was
On the
right
ground?
in front of their apartment, right where he
Shh.
says he claims he got
Were
hit.
you on the ground?
Pardon?
Were you on the ground? Pardon. But
Yeah, not the entire night.
I didn't
was
say
hit.
on
I
the
was
entire
knocked
night.
out.
I said down. Were you knocked down?
Yes, I was.
So when you were knocked down, you were on the ground. You didn't see what was going on all around you.
No, but I wasn't down for that long of a
Mr.
time.
Schwartz.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
For one, I didn't hit him, but anyways, if you think about it, can you run 20 feet with a skateboard and have a skateboard truck and only chip 1 tooth? Can you do that? It's quietly impossible.
Would you believe this? You missed the point, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Timothy Brazos claims Jimmy Ventura injured him when a party erupted into a neighborhood brawl.
Mr. Schwartz, what I'm telling you is, you did not see what was going on around you all the time. That doesn't mean that I am yet convinced that this was the person who hit you, sir. And I don't doubt the fact that you got hit. Because in your complaint, you say, because I read it very carefully, my back was turned to him when I got hit.
Well, I meant my side. You know, I was like,
What
I
you
was like
meant,
this.
sir, in your sworn complaint and what you wrote, then are two different things, because you swore to this. You want to see it?
No, I know what I wrote.
You said, the reason I should win is I did not hit him at all. My back was turned to him when I got hit.
Well, yeah. I mean, my side was turned to him. I'm more like my back. As I got hit, I could see who hit me.
You mean, sir, listen to me. And I'm not saying that it definitely was not this young man. You have just told me that you never saw him before. That night was the first night you saw him. That there was a lot of confusion going on because there are lots of people out there, 40 people from your side, from the other group's side, so there are a lot of people, a lot of commotion. According to your own statement, you had a couple of beers that night. You didn't want to get blotto drunk, but you'd had a couple of beers that night. So you'd had something to drink. It was late at night because the party was in the process of winding down. And your back was turned towards the person who hit you. So what you're telling me is in the split second that you turned around, you saw this young man, and you are able to 100% say to me today, you are absolutely positive that this was the person who assaulted you with the skateboard.
Yeah, it's because after he hit me, I saw who it was. He walked away, and I saw him.
He walked away. You fell to the ground when you were hit?
I fell to my knee and my arm.
You fell to the knees in your arm, and the person who hit you...
He was standing right there waiting for me to get up. I didn't get up for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh, you didn't tell me that before. You said they were walking away. Why would they be standing right over you?
To see if I'd get up and probably attack him back, because he'd probably want to be ready if I would do something like that. But that's not what happened. He was right there after he hit me. He hit me. I got up. As I was getting up, I'm looking at him the whole time. He's standing there, you know, kind of backing away. And then he just goes off in his way, and I run upstairs in the house. My brother saw that happen.
Did you have skateboards in your house?
Yeah, they were on the lawn. It'd be very easy for him to grab one and hit me. I know for a fact it was him.
I'm not sure.
I'm positive. I'm 100% positive.
Okay,
Well-
he says that I hit him and I took off. Well, if he would have known and he knew what I was wearing, which he doesn't because he said I was wearing a white striped shirt, I was sitting in front of those stairs for 4 hours talking to cops.
And that's not what he was wearing. And if he's
And
so
that's not what I
positive,
was wearing. When he
Your
said
Honor,
in court, he's all, I saw him, he's wearing a white shirt. I was not wearing a white
I
shirt.
never said he was
that
wearing a
night.
white shirt. I said he was wearing a striped shirt.
You said it's in your
That's
testimony in the
testimony that
criminal
he's wearing
case.
a striped shirt.
Listen to me.
It says a white
After
striped
this
shirt,
happened,
t-shirt.
wrong.
After this happened,
We've
Well,
got
that's
the
what he said.
transcript.
after this whole
Should've brought it.
altercation, were you sitting, you say you were sitting and talking to the police?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sat
Hey,
there
Mr.
for 4
Schwartz,
hours.
stop it. I'm talking to him. You say you were sitting and talking to the police where?
Right on the stairs. We sat down right when my mom got hit. I showed up right when she got hit. I wasn't even there before when the fight started. I came up when the fight was already going on. I came up and I saw my mom get hit, and I hit the guy that hit her. I got maced. We both sat down on the stairs, supposedly where he says he ran up the stairs, whatever. I sat there. We were sitting there, and the fight was still increasing. I was still sitting there. The cops come up. My mom had she had like blood coming from her nose, and she had a fat lip, and so we were sitting there, and she was getting taken care of. The ambulance came up, and we were talking to him, and we sat there for 4 hours.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It doesn't make sense to me that her own son struck her, sir. Common sense would dictate to me that that did not happen.
In the case involving Mrs. Schwartz and her sons, there was no common sense involved.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Timothy Brazos is suing Jimmy Ventura for injuries suffered during a neighborhood brawl. Jimmy is countersuing for pain and suffering, loss of education, and financial hardship.
Did they ever apprehend the person who hit you?
No, they didn't.
What
Yeah,
do you mean?
we tried to tell my
We
mom,
tried to tell them who hit me.
and they would not
they
listen to
wouldn't
us
listen.
at all.
That sounds very peculiar to me.
This whole thing is peculiar.
No, just a second. That sounds very peculiar to me. I mean, here you have a woman who's in charge of a building complex, who apparently is injured when the police arrive, and the police will not take your complaint about the person who hit you?
No, all they kept saying is their side, Tim and his roommates kept saying that Jimmy was the one that hit me. And I was trying to convince...
Jimmy was the one that hit you?
Yes.
You mean your son was
Yes.
the one who hit you?
That's what they were, that's
what
what they
were
were
trying to say.
saying.
They try to say,
That's what they were saying the whole night, that Jimmy's the one who hit me, not Tim. He hit me. And the fella that hit me, if he's so sure it was Jimmy,
Just a minute.
then who I'm sure
Did
has hit
anybody
me is
suggest
him.
to the police
Because the boy
that-
that hit me was that boy's size right there.
No, Mrs. Schwartz, this boy didn't. He didn't hit you. Come on,
The
get
boy
it together.
that hit me was as tall as him.
Good.
But I won't 100% identify him because I didn't see him. It happened too
That's-
quick. But it
that's
was
right.
he was a tall, big boy.
Okay. Did anybody suggest that this woman was assaulted by her own son?
No.
Huh?
No.
It's in the police
Did
report.
you? Let me see
I
the
didn't
police
suggest
report.
it.
I didn't bring it.
it should have been
Well,
all of
because
You're the father.
Yes.
You know anything about this?
Yes.
I'm going to hear you.
I just recently retired from the Los Angeles Police Department, and I had contact that night with my son, and then I contacted Lewis Martin, who's the detective handling the case in Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. And as she stated, there were independent wits from the commotion that was going on outside that did, in fact, is in the police report that she was struck by her own son during the melee.
Oh, just a second.
Just to let you know that part.
No, you can't let me know that. I don't know that. I don't know unless I hear a witness who saw it.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes. I
Because you understand that.
Yes.
And it doesn't make sense to me that her own son struck her, sir. Common sense would dictate to me that that did not happen.
In the case involving Mrs. Schwartz and her sons, there was no common sense involved.
Oh, I believe that there's common sense and logic involved in this whole thing. I believe that there was a party.
Yes.
I believe that this young man came uninvited. I believe that he brought somebody else with him that was also uninvited to the party. I believe that the other person he invited to the party went outside, either with him or without his assistance, and urinated on the lawn right in front of the house. I believe that there was some altercation.
Yes.
Because there were some guests at the party that were irate at what they saw because here were uninvited guests using the front lawn of your home as a toilet. Clearly inappropriate.
Yes.
I even believe he probably got roughed up a little bit and went home and got a whole group of people. Probably included in that group was his brother, who came back to the house looking for nothing but trouble. So far, it's as clear as a bell to me. The only thing that's not 100% clear to me, sir, is whether your son could make an appropriate identification.
I can clear that up.
Hmm?
I can clear that up.
Go ahead.
Okay, before this night, I've never seen him before. I would have no reason to pick his face out of a 6-person lineup. I'd never seen him before that night. How would I go into the sheriff's station and pick his face out of a lineup, even if I've never seen him before? And if he's not the one, you know, if he's the one who hit me, I'd pick him out for sure. You know,
well, how long have you been living in that complex?
At the time, about a month. He never came by before, ever.
Had you seen him before?
Never.
That's not true.
The other brother.
He saw both of my sons when he was at my house signing
We
contracts.
used to do maintenance work
I saw
on
him
apartments.
one day when we came there with one of my roommate's parents. I saw Gunner walk to his room. That's the only person I ever saw.
Didn't
I
see
never
the
saw
other
Jimmy.
brother.
Never.
You have a photograph of the lineup?
No. But the police made me pick it, and they brought it to a civil criminal trial.
Pick it.
Explain to me, sir, exactly what was shown to you when you came into the police
Okay,
station.
I went to a police
Just
station.
4 days later, you went into the police station.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And he showed me
Who's he?
The police officer.
Martin.
Yes.
Detective Martin showed
Yes.
me a list. There's 6 people on this paper, on this photo thing, and he was one of them. And I picked out the guy that I saw hit me, just like that. I don't know who the other 5 people were.
And you had never seen him before?
Never.
For one, I didn't hit him, but anyways, if you think about it, can you run 20 feet with a skateboard and have a skateboard truck and only chip 1 tooth? Can you do that? It's quietly impossible.
Could you believe this?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You missed the point, sir.
No, that's what
Either they have convinced me by a preponderance of the evidence that you were the one who hit him, or they haven't. And whether his head got cracked open, or whether he chipped 1 tooth, or whether he doesn't have one of his own teeth in his mouth as a result of that is really not the issue. The issue is, did you hit him?
No, I didn't hit
And
him.
quite
It's a lie.
frankly, he has convinced me that you did. All right, what were your unreimbursed medical expenses, sir?
Okay, and that's where my dad was here to, he knows
Okay.
exactly how that went.
Yes,
Out
sir.
of pocket, I lost about $1,600 approximately, and we have an $800 root canal due on the same tooth because it died.
Well, the only question is, what are the damages for pain and suffering? Because your unreimbursed bills, you certainly are entitled to. Because I find that there is sufficient evidence by a preponderance of the evidence so that I am satisfied that based on the fact that you picked him out of a lineup, and the lineup was a 6-person photographic lineup, and I am satisfied that you had not seen him before. I believe you that you had not seen him before. So there would have been no reason for you to pick out this person who just happens to be the brother of the person who had an argument with your partygoers a few hours before. There would have been no reason for you to pick him out. That coupled with the fact that usually when someone is injured, they want the right person arrested. They want the person who caused them pain to suffer, right?
Right.
So you would not like to identify the wrong person. It would have been just as easy for you to identify this person because he had been there. Did not. You identified somebody who you had never seen before, him. So I'm satisfied that by a preponderance of the evidence, you have established that he caused you injury. And I'm giving you what you're suing for, which is $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, how come I was...
Out the back door to your right. Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This boy was so out of it that he has falsely identified
We'll go
this
to
boy
hell.
who's cost us my home, our jobs, and this boy's education. We want to thank you all very, very much.
Harriet Barnes claims she was assaulted in a Hollywood electronics store owned by David Cohen while trying to buy film.
Order, all rise. Your Honor, this is case number 242 on the calendar in the matter of Barnes versus Cohen. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir. Have a seat, please.
Miss Barnes, you claim that you were assaulted in defendant's store while you were there buying film.
Yes.
Where did this take place?
On Hollywood and Boulevard.
Were you a tourist?
Yes, I was.
According to this, you were a tourist.
I was
Who
a
were you
tourist.
with?
I was with my brother and his girlfriend, which are my witness, and my sister.
And you ran out of film?
And I ran out of film, right. I ran out of film, so I went into this film camera shop to purchase some films. And while I was in there, this man here was very, very rude to me.
Well, tell me exactly what happened. You went into the store and you said?
And I went into the store and I asked him, do you have films for my camera? And he said yes. So I asked him how much the films were. And he told me, and then I told him I think they cost too much, you know. And so at that time, my brother told me, he said, well, you know, I know another place where we can go to get them a little bit cheaper. And so at that time, he got all mad and upset because he said that, you know, that's why he hated to deal with the N-word, call us, you know, and stuff. And he was very, very rude to us, very, you know, obnoxious.
Did you buy the film?
So I had purchased it, and then I asked him, I told him that I decided that I didn't want the films. So I gave, you know, I asked him to give me my money back, you know. And so then he said, that's what he said, well, that's why I hate dealing with you. You know, he was just cursing and going on. And I'm not used to nobody hollering and screaming at me like that, you know.
So far, he said a lot of bad things to you.
Yes, he did.
And then what happened?
Instead of giving my money back, he took my money and he threw it in my face. And so I was really, you know, upset and shocked. I started crying and everything. Then the next thing I know, the guy that was standing beside me hauled off and kicked me in my leg, you know.
Who was standing beside you?
Some man that worked in the store with him. I don't know, some merchant, I don't know, a salesperson or something. He was just standing there, and all of a sudden, this guy threw the money in my face. This other guy kicked me in my leg. You know, and I have the pictures here. I have the doctor's statement, everything. And I'm suing for pain and suffering.
Okay, sir, let me hear your version of what transpired.
Your Honor, I wasn't on that location to begin with. I have 3 different locations in Hollywood Boulevard.
Were you in the store at the time that this happened?
Absolutely not.
Well, who was? Step up here, please. Tell me your name.
My name is Emmanuel Cohen,
okay.
And I manage the store on Hollywood Boulevard.
And you own the store?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you tell me your version of what happened. Is this the gentleman that you were dealing with?
This is the man right here, Your Honor, that
what?
threw the money in my face.
Okay.
The one with the glasses.
Okay. So you tell me, sir, what happened, your version of what happened when this lady came into your store.
I was standing behind the counter where all the films is located. 4 of them, they walked in. They asked how much is a Polaroid film. I told them $12.99. She asked me if she can get a discount. I said no.
No, I didn't.
He was quiet. You have to be quiet. Go ahead.
I said no. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, that man that's sitting there, he says, you know what? I don't like his face. He called me a name. Even though that he said all of these things to me, just a couple of words, she started telling him, shut up, be quiet. It's none of your affair. Shut up and get out of the store.
She told
him.
She told her brother?
Yes.
Okay.
After that, she said, that's okay. She threw $13 on the counter. I give her the Polaroid film. Before I ring it up, she walked out. 2 minutes later, she came back in again and she threw the film at my counter. And she says, I want my money back. At that time, I don't want any headache. So I void the sale. I give her the $13. She threw the film like this. By the time she was walking out, she go like this on my counter. I have no idea why she do this. She throw everything, the credit card machine, the printer, all my business card, the telephone, the stapler, my stamp, my receipt book, the whole thing on the floor. And I'm standing here behind the counter. She threw everything behind the counter and in front of the counter. And she walked out. We have another
What
door.
happened with another employee who she says kicked her?
We had one person with the name of Elmer Gomez. This man, I have his telephone number and everything, right? He came that morning around 9:30 to the store to be trained or to see how he's making a sale. He's not hiree of us. We not hire him. We just try him out. He was there with another salesman. They both of them, they were in the back selling a video camera. Nobody was up front to kick or to harass or to do anything with her. I'm still behind my counter. I have no way to get out that fast or kick or do something.
She's not suggesting that you kicked her, sir.
For the past 17 years we've been
You're
in
not
Hollywood.
suggesting that he kicked you, right?
No, it was another man in the
No,
store,
ma'am.
Your Honor,
No,
that
Your
kicked
Honor.
me.
Excuse me.
Would you describe what that man looked like?
He was like about his size, but kind of, he was a
Younger,
little younger.
older?
He was a little younger. I don't know how old he was, but he was a little bit younger than both of these men. These are not the two men, the man that kicked me.
Step up here, sir. Tell me your name.
John Ellis. I'm her brother.
Where were you visiting from?
She was visiting from San Francisco. She came to visit me, and we had it all planned to go sightseeing that weekend. So we were on Hollywood Boulevard, so we went to get some films. So this gentleman with the glasses was very, very unprofessional, very rude to us. So my sister told me, my sister told me to walk out the store, leave him alone, because I was upset. And I left the store.
And you left.
I just walked out because I didn't want to
So
get no
you didn't
confrontation.
see your sister get kicked?
No, I left the store because I didn't want to get no confrontation.
My brother's girlfriend was in the store. She was still in the store that saw.
Did you see her get kicked by someone?
Yes, I did.
Well, then step up here. You may sit down, sir. Tell me your name.
Hi, my name is Deborah Key. Okay, I seen where...
Look at me, please.
Okay, I seen where the gentleman with the glasses, okay, he said and gave, once she asked for her money back.
I want you to tell me about the kick that you say you saw.
Okay, about the kick.
Look
the
at
guy,
my eyes.
Okay, the guy just all of a sudden, he had no kind of words with the man. He just all of a sudden just kicked her. He just kicked her. Just deliberately just kicked her for no apparent reason. So that's when she got to hollering and screaming and fell down. I immediately pulled out my cell phone and called 911. I called 911, and then that's when the police came.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You say he didn't assault you.
Now that I look at him now, Your Honor, he is the man.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. As Harriet Barnes attempted to purchase film in a Hollywood electronics store owned by David Cohen, she says she was attacked.
Now, where is this Mr. Gomez today?
He ran away from my store because for the first hour that he stopped working for me, he had to deal with such a thing.
They arrested him. They put a handcuff on Elmer Gomez, this new guy, and they body search him. I saw that things are happening, and I called the store number 2. He was there, and I told him, come over here, and we have a little problem over here. As soon as he comes in, the police, they were standing there.
I came in and I said to the police officer, I am the owner, what can I do for you? All of a sudden, this lady that I see her for the second time, she got up and she said, you hit her. So all of a sudden, the police officer that saw me, I'm coming from my next door store to this location, they opened the cuff from the gentleman that we call here Elmer Gomez, and they put it on me. And I told the officer, you know that it's not true. She said, David, relax. It's a citizen arrest. If they would leave it up to me, I would not take you down there because I know you came from the other location.
Were you, just a second, were you present in the store when the police arrived?
When the police arrived, Your Honor, I was out on the street, on the ground, holding my leg.
Did you ever see this gentleman at the store on that day?
No, I didn't. No, not this one. I saw this one and the other man that hit me.
After the incident, when after the police were there, did you see this man here? This gentleman?
Yes.
Well, this one right here, yes. He was there after the police arrived.
Did you ever see this man in handcuffs?
No. No, Your Honor.
Who was in handcuffs?
The man that kicked me.
Were you ever called to go to the criminal court with regard to that man?
No.
Well, you had an arrest made of somebody who say assaulted you. Did you ever follow up on it?
No.
Why not? Somebody assaulted you, and you had them arrested. Didn't you follow through with the police? Didn't you go down, file a police report?
Yes, I did. I have a police report. You know, I have
Let
the
me see
police
the
report.
police
It's
report.
right there.
Yeah, you filed with.
Didn't anybody ask you to come down to the police precinct?
Yes, that lady called, remember?
Yeah, some lady.
Sir, stand up here. Do you know anything about this?
Yes, the lady
So
called.
what happened?
Because
See,
she
I
lived in
live
San
here. I live
Francisco,
in San-
and I was taking care of all the business because she was in San Francisco, and she couldn't come back and forth.
Well, what happened when the police called?
They called me and told me that they were going to court on the
16th.
It was like 2 months ago. We were supposed to go to criminal court.
Right.
Then they called back and said it was thrown out of court or something.
What do you mean it was thrown out of court? Why was it thrown out of court?
I don't know.
Did you come down to criminal court?
No, because I didn't know that I was supposed to
Well, your
come.
brother knew.
You know.
Just a minute. Your brother knew.
She said we was on standby, that she'll call if she need us.
That's what it was,
The DA
standby.
told us. We was on standby, and she said we was for 10 days, that she'll call us. I gave her my phone number and my cell phone number, and she'll call me. She never did call. She said if you don't call, then we don't have to come. We don't have to appear. So that's why we didn't go down.
Give me the name of the district attorney.
What was her name?
We have the dismissal.
I'd like to see it, please, and I may have to call the district attorney. I'm going to tell you what my problem is. I don't understand why people who have a legitimate complaint for an assault don't follow through with the criminal case and yet follow through with a civil case. Why wouldn't you follow through and want to see justice
Because
done?
we have never been to a court before in our life. This is all new processes to me.
Yeah, but you know, you came to a civil
Well-
court to get money. Why not go to the criminal court
Right.
to have justice done there?
Okay, well, we did this, and we got subpoena, and I told, she told, that I asked her, do we have to appear? She said no.
Just a minute. This piece of paper says, Ms. Barnes, that you caused to be arrested Nasser Shlomo Cohen. Who is that?
That's me, Your Honor.
And you signed that you swore that he assaulted you.
I see.
Ms. Barnes, shh. Well, read what you wrote. Not anybody else. Read what you wrote.
Your Honor, if they stop telling her what to do in her life, I think she would be much successful
Just a
person in
second.
life.
That's none of your business, sir.
I'm sorry.
Now, let me see the rest of the papers, please. And get me the name of the district attorney, sir.
I'll get that name for you.
And Your Honor, may I say something again?
Now, let me look at some papers, sir. Don't say anything yet.
But you wouldn't dare.
I don't have a certificate of disposition about what happened with this case.
It got dismissed, Your Honor.
It's not here. You said to me, now I've read all the papers here. Did you find the name of the district attorney, sir?
I have a phone number you can call.
Sure.
213.
Let me see the other papers that you have there, please.
This is for the regular, for the...
All right. Let's see. All I want to make sure is as follows. It's your statement, madam, that you were perfectly prepared to proceed with the criminal case against the person who you said assaulted you, but you were never contacted to appear. That is what you told me. Is that correct?
Yes.
But you were never contacted, never told that you have to come down for a trial.
No, I never got a phone call.
Okay. Why don't you all have a seat, please? Please. Make room for your sister, sir.
Oh.
Get up.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You just told me 5 minutes ago that it was somebody else
Because he
who
looks
looked
different, Your
who
Honor.
looked-
He looks
who
completely
looked
different.
younger. Oh, please, madam.
He does.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Harriet Barnes wants damages she says resulted from an assault in a Hollywood electronics store owned by David Cohen.
Bill, this is Judge Scheindlin. How are you? Good, thank you. Who are you, Mr. Great, okay. It's a very simple matter. I was given by litigants who were before me on a civil case a subpoena in a criminal case, and I do not believe that they appeared. They tell me, the defendants in this case tell me that the case in the criminal court was dismissed for whatever reason. The complaint that I have, the criminal subpoena, is people of the state of California plaintiff versus Nasir Cohen. It's important, but it really becomes less important because clearly in this case, even according to the plaintiffs, the wrong person was named as a defendant. You don't know. It's very possible. Well, I thank you very much for your time. I will try to ferret this out, but as far as you know, this case absolutely was dismissed, as it probably should have been. Very well. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your help. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. I have a cold. I don't feel well. And something is not right here. Step up here. Step up here. I've been on the phone trying to ferret out what's going on. First of all, you step up here, too. I want you to take a look at this, sir. That piece of paper, that summons that you gave me, is the people of the state of California against this man for assault. Do you understand that?
Yeah. Yes.
You say he didn't assault you.
Now that I look at him now, Your Honor, he is the man. He is.
What do you mean now that you look at him? You just told me 5 minutes ago that it was somebody else
because he looks different, Your Honor. He looks completely different.
Younger. Oh, please, madam.
He does. He was dressed different that day and everything.
My problem, Ms. Barnes, is as follows. I just spoke to the city attorney. You clearly filed your case against this man. He was arrested. He was processed because we have a complaint. The district attorney told me that the case against this man was dismissed. 5 minutes ago, you said to me, this person didn't do it, this person didn't do it, it was somebody else. And all of a sudden, when I take a break, you say, he looks different from the day it was him. Clearly, from what you told me before, it was not this person.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
I am mortified that you came here as a tourist to have a good time, and you had what was a miserable experience. But you have to be able to prove a case. You should have gone to the criminal court. Maybe because you knew that the right person wasn't being charged, you didn't go to the criminal court. That's a possibility. But you should have, because you can't abdicate your responsibility as a citizen in the criminal case and then come in and sue for a lot of money civilly and expect a court to hear less quality proof than it would take in another court. I know one thing for certain. I am not satisfied that this man assaulted you. And if I'm not satisfied that this man assaulted you, your case has to be dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's a policy of me because I'm Persian. I just say I'm a citizen of this country. I have to be nice to people.
I'll tell you one thing, anybody go to that store, don't shop at that store. But they're very rude and very unprofessional.
Thank you very much.
That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'll make sure that nobody else comes to that store.
No problem. We are here to make money, and this nonsense don't mean nothing to us. I'm sorry if they had a bad experience. And really, I'm sorry.
Man, get out of here. Don't say sorry to me.
28-year-old administrative assistant Chrissy Davis is suing her former boyfriend, 36-year-old mover Kirk Stahl, for credit card bills. Kirk is countersuing for prizes they both won on a game show.
Order, all rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor, this is case number 467 on the calendar in the matter of Davis versus Stahl. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Ms. Davis, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were involved in a relationship which is now over.
That is correct.
And during that time, you either made loans or had expenses that you claim he is at least partially responsible for. You say that it's in excess of about $2,000.
That is correct.
He acknowledges that he owes you some money. About $1,500, according to you. However,
yes.
When was that?
We taped the show last July, and the show aired this past January.
And you won?
Yes, everything. Yes. Won it all.
And Mr. Stahl says that you decided to keep all the merchandise.
That is also correct.
So he said that the amount that he owes you is more than offset by these prizes that you won.
Well, I disagree.
Well, you admit that you were on this game show.
Yes.
What was the name of the game show?
The show was called Shop Till You Drop.
Tell me how that's played.
Well, it's like it's a shopping mall, and you've got a couple of physical stunts, and if you win your physical stunt, you get to go shopping at these stores. And we won both of them and went shopping twice.
As a couple?
As a couple.
Yes. You won?
We won.
What kind of prizes did you win?
We won a ruby and diamond cocktail ring.
That wouldn't look good on you.
No, it wouldn't.
Yes.
It does look good on me, though. A bedroom set, an air filter, some silver, a coffee tea service, some kitchen utensils, a label maker, wallpaper, an entertainment center, and a trip to Mexico.
What'd you do with the trip to Mexico?
Nothing yet.
But you have it?
I have it.
She has everything.
Right. Now, Ms. Davis, you tell me why you think you're entitled to keep all these prizes.
I do not feel I'm entitled to keep all these prizes. Through my relationship with Kirk, it ended up being so painful for me that I became vengeful, and all of these things showed up at my house. I have everything. And I thought, my feelings are so hurt that I just am going to keep this. Just some stuff to sort of allay my hurt. It's not what I should have done. I look at this stuff and I look at the situation that has been caused with my relationship with him.
Why are you so angry with him?
2 years has told me he loved me, has told me that he wanted. 2 years has told me he loved me, has told me that he wanted to marry me, wanted to make me the mother of his children and any future children that happened after that.
And it was absolutely the truth.
So why are you so angry? It didn't work out. You think he was playing with you?
He was lying to me.
What makes you think he was lying to you?
He told me that he and his wife were separated and that he was going to divorce her. I gave him every opportunity to divorce her.
Oh, you're a married man, Mr. Stahl.
We were separated for 4 years.
He told me they were separated for 10.
We were married for 10, legally separated for 4. She knew this. She asked me to get a divorce. I could not afford the divorce, so I talked to my alleged wife, and she went ahead and paid for the divorce. So we got divorced. That made her angry that she's the one that actually divorced me. That really upset her. I said, what is the difference? At least we're divorced.
Right.
She wasn't having none of it.
Why were you unhappy about that, Ms.
No. It's that I had gone to the courthouse for him, had gotten the paperwork for him. I had bought a book for him on how to file for divorce on his own. I had filled out the paperwork. I had done everything to help him get this divorce, which he kept telling me he was going to get. He didn't ever tell me that he was talking with his wife and saying that maybe she would pay for it.
Let me understand this. Ms. Davis, you were angry because he was in communication with his now ex-wife, and they agreed between the two of them without telling you that she was going to be the plaintiff in the divorce action after you had filled out all the paperwork.
No.
So then what are you angry about?
I'm angry that he told me for 2 years that he was going to divorce this woman and didn't.
But then he did. He's divorced. I mean, is that what you're angry?
That's great. But in the meantime, here's a person who was telling me he was going to, pay his debt to me, and never did. He gave me $500 once against my visa for some repairs that I helped him pay for his truck. Okay, because I helped him to get car insurance. I remember being at work and doing customer service in between calls, calling insurance agents for him so he could get insurance on his truck to get his license back, which has since been revoked by the DMV.
All right, don't go into all that stuff. Do you have children with your former wife?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children?
3.
Do you see them?
As often as possible.
He does now. He was not seeing them when we were together, and nor was he paying child support.
Well, that's really not particularly relevant. Listen, quite frankly, Ms. Davis, I don't understand why he's so angry with that. He's got a former wife with whom he has 3 children, and if he could, listen to me, and if he can resolve his marital status with his former wife in such a way that makes her more comfortable, because she's got the kids living with her, I assume.
Yes.
So, I've been in this business a long time. She said, I don't want to be the defendant in the action. I'll be the plaintiff. Is that what happened?
Absolutely.
Aha. Now, do you understand that? Ms. Davis, listen to me. Listen to me. So that's what he did. He said, listen, as long as I'm divorced, what difference does it make? You're not together anymore, and I have to resolve this case, which is really not a very difficult case to resolve.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
She's a vicious little thing. If she's not on her medication, she busts plates over your head.
And later today,
Goodbye. Good luck. May Obi-Wan Kenobi be with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chrissy Davis broke up with Kirk Stahl. She's suing for bills. He's suing for game show prizes.
She says you owe her about $2,500. You say you owe her about $1,500, right?
I got the proof.
Shh. Listen to me. And you have countersued her for $3,000.
Yes.
For what you allege is half of the prizes.
You can have all of the prizes.
Listen to me. I'm going to make a very simple order. On your direct claim against him, I am awarding you $2,000. And I am directing that all of the prizes on his counterclaim be sold and the proceeds of the sale be divided between the two of you equally. Do you understand?
Yes.
So she's going to have a giant sale. And whatever the proceeds are, I mean, you can be involved with that if you like.
Well, I'm going to say, being as vengeful as she's wanting to be here or is, what's to say she don't want to turn around and sell them for $1 to her family or whatever, because I'm a mover. I'm always out on the street. I'm busy
Listen
constantly.
to me, sir. There is a way of, Ms. Davis, you cannot do that. This has to be
I want him to take them. I want him to come to my house and pick them up and get them.
Just a second. Are you prepared to give him everything?
He can have it. I want the ring. I want the wallpaper. And he can have the rest.
No, because he's...
He can have the ring. Here, have the ring.
Hang on to the ring.
Let me see it.
I just want this to be over. I was wrong to want revenge against this person for breaking my heart. However, he has amassed $2,500 in bills in my name, and it went to collections, and it's affected my credit.
It's very unfortunate, because if things had worked out between the two of you, you wouldn't be here today. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So you're angry, and I understand why you're angry. He acknowledges that he owes you money. The problem is, how are we going to resolve the issue of these game prizes? All these prizes.
I just wanted to be on TV. I just wanted to do a game show. It was so much fun. I loved seeing myself on this game show.
That's why we're here today.
And It was wrong of me to hold them for a bailment, to say, you start paying me the money you owe me, and then I'll start releasing the prizes to you. That was wrong. But since I knew I was doing that wrong, I got the 1099 in my name, so at least I was paying the taxes on it and not him.
She took my name off of that, which I don't know if that's illegal or not.
Well, which of the items do you want, sir? Maybe we can resolve it that way.
He can have it all. He can have it all. I just want the $2,500. All I wanted was a judgment that said he owed it.
Just a second. Just a second.
I didn't even... Sorry.
Just a second. How does that sound to you, sir?
I'll take it all.
Good. But you have to give her the $2,500 that you owe her. And you're making out like a bandit according to your answer. According to your answer, the property's... Listen to me. According to your answer, the property is worth $6,000. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're going to get $6,000 worth of property that you can go to sell and at least get $2,500 for it, right?
Correct.
Good! Make arrangements within the next week to turn over everything to him, right? Everything to him, and judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. You okay?
He doesn't see a lie as a lie.
No, I don't. I see a cheat as a cheat. I wish it would have been different. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
You sure showed me.
And you showed me. She's a vicious little thing. If she's not on her medication, she busts plates over your head. One night, she broke a dinner plate over my head as I was leaving. The other night, she scratched the heck out of me. Guess I should have had you arrested, but no. That was love. She knows I love her.
And now the next case.
Parties on Martin versus Battles. Step forward, please.
24-year-old law clerk Jennifer Martin is suing her ex-boyfriend, electrician Scott Battles, 28, for bills and assault.
Miss Martin, you have a laundry list of things of monies that you allege that Mr. Battle owes you from the time you were living together.
Yes, I do, Your Honor. I also have photocopies of all the canceled checks that I wrote out to him, plus some personal items that were his that I paid for that I never received the money for. He did damage to the house that we were renting. I have photographs of all the damage that he did to the house. The landlady walked through the house after he left, pointed out all of the stuff that he did that were changes that were not authorized by her in writing. And because of that, I lost my security deposit that I paid out to him. That he gave me a false address when he moved. He never gave me a phone number to get a hold of him. He lied to me when he left and said that he was going to give me my security deposit back. And he basically is hiding from me now at this point.
He's not hiding. He's right here.
Well, up until now, he was hiding from me.
I don't owe her anything. Not one penny.
Well, tell me why you don't owe her anything. And then I'm going to send you both outside to go over these bills. Because I'm not going to go over 30 bills.
I've got the bills actually broken down, an entire list of exactly what was paid, how much her rent was, and the fact that, I don't owe her a penny. As far as some of the other things she's saying, I did not do any damage to the house. The things that she said that was altered from the house, that's between me and the landlady and not her.
But what about her security deposit?
Her security deposit, I told her I would give her after I got the final bills from the house. She lived there almost a month after I left.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lie.
When I got the bills, they were extremely high, and they ate up all of her security deposit.
Like what bills?
I got a phone bill for over $500 for starters.
That's interesting. Okay. You see how thick those files are?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. Your files? Take your files, go in the back, sit down, go over the... Did you see the last month's bills?
No, he never showed me any bills.
Take them outside.
Thank you. Step out, please.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
He's a liar, and he's a scam.
I'm sorry.
He's still married. That's the thing that pisses me off.
It's just her
That's what makes me so mad.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jennifer Martin claims former boyfriend Scott Battles assaulted her. He says she was distraught when they broke up and destroyed his property.
Order.
Okay, folks.
It's my understanding that there is at least some sort of resolution here with regard to a dollar figure, except for one major issue. Is that right?
Yeah, Your Honor, we came to an agreement on the bills, and we worked
So
all
what's
of that
left,
out.
Ms. Martin?
The punitive damages that I'm suing him for $1,500. The reason I think I'm entitled to punitive damages is because for the last 3 months of our relationship, I had to call the police on him several times because he got very physically abusive. He jumped in my car window, he grabbed me by my throat while he was in my car window, told me to roll down my window, and I have electric windows. After he pulled the keys out, then told me, well, if I break the window when I get out, that's your own problem, not mine. He had thrown me up against the living room wall. He had punched me in the middle of my back, and every time I called the police said that it was mutual combat or it was domestic violence and there was nothing they could do about it, and that I would go to jail for assault and battery.
That doesn't sound like a good job by the police.
So that's what they told me every time I called them.
Because it's not true.
Okay.
It's not true at all.
You know, you develop a sense of personalities, people's personalities. He is the passive-aggressive type. You, however, are not a shrinking violet. You remember this incident in the car with the windshield?
Yes.
You want to tell me your version of those events, sir?
She was upset. She was going to leave. She had my phone. She said, I'm not going to call anybody, take the phone with her. I reached through the window to get the phone, which was on the dash. And when I did, she rolled the window up on me.
You mean on your hand?
No, on the middle of my body.
Oh, you mean you leaned in?
Right.
That could smart.
So the first thing I did was basically turn the ignition off because she was still attempting to roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much after, once I struggled a little bit, scraped to get out, and that's all there was. She went in the house, called the cops.
Now, after that incident, did you continue to live together after the police were called?
For a short time.
Yes, for a short time.
Yes. Now, do you remember hitting her in her back?
No.
You remember throwing her against a wall?
No.
How many times were the police called?
A total of 3 times.
And she called them?
For different instances,
Mhm.
yes. Not, she called twice, and my mother called once.
No, they were called 4 times, Scott. And
Your
I
mother,
called
this is-
3 times.
Right. I called the police myself twice.
Step up here. Do you live in the same building?
No.
No.
What caused you to call the police?
Well, she called me early in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and said, you better get out here and you have 1 hour to get Scott's belongings out of this house or they're going to be trashed out in the rain. Which when my husband and I went over there in a half hour, they were being trashed, broken, trashed out in the rain.
What do you mean they were being broken, trashed out in the rain?
She broke everything. She took everything she could and was just like a maniac, just throwing,
I got there
just throwing it
a while
out in
after
the
that.
rain. And the police came, and
living with me.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Living with me.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Okay, let's deal with the issue of punitive damages. Listen to me. When a relationship doesn't work out...
Sorry.
When a relationship doesn't work out, you put a period and it's over.
Right.
And it sounds to me like the two of you probably did some nasties to each other. But you don't live with them anymore?
No, I don't.
You've resolved all your other financial differences?
Yes.
Correct? Goodbye. Good luck. What's the name of that guy from Star Wars?
Luke Skywalker.
What? No, sort of the Obi-Wan Kenobi. May Obi-Wan Kenobi be with you.
Parties are excused, you may. Yeah, step out the back door to your right.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I brought you to court because you stole money from me, Scott, okay? I brought you to court because you're married, you're still married, and you're sleeping with your new little girlfriend that you're living with. He's a liar, and he's a scam.
I'm
and
sorry.
He's still married. That's the thing that... Why don't you shut the hell up? That's about it.
And she's also dating and living with somebody else, so, you know...
Yeah, like, you know what?
Why don't you shut the hell up?
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, chào mừng mọi người đã quay trở lại channel của mình. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn mọi người cách làm một chiếc giỏ xách có dán hình tên lửa nhé. Ở đây mình sẽ sử dụng tờ giấy màu trắng và xanh. Tiếp theo dụng cụ gồm có kéo, bút chì, bút màu, thước, hồ keo. Giờ chúng ta sẽ bắt tay vào làm nhé. Đầu tiên thì mình sẽ kẻ kích thước của cái giỏ xách. Mình sẽ kẻ với kích thước là 8 x 8. Sau đó thì mình sẽ vẽ hình tên lửa lên trên tờ giấy màu trắng nhé. mình sẽ cắt hình cái tên lửa này ra. Như vậy là chiếc giỏ xách của mình đã hoàn thành xong. Nếu như mọi người cảm thấy video này hay và có ích, hãy để lại cho mình một like, share và đăng ký kênh nhé. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở những video tiếp theo.